J. If you keep on talking, baby, you know you're bound to drive me away. Now you get on the telephone with your
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you on a Thursday morning. Johnny's in the studio.
Good morning.
Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Hyundai of Yuma out there on 32nd Street, veteran-owned business. It deserves a look. You got to look. If you're looking to buy a car, I think they deserve an opportunity to be involved in that. Just drive by, take a look at the car, say, hey man, I want to test drive. Russ and Johnny sent me, and do that. No obligations. But I think once you get in them and you understand what the engineering's all about, and that's ergonomics, making sure you're comfortable in the car, the electronic features that assist in driving, convenience, entertainment, radios to doors that are just unlocked for you, all that kind of stuff. And then America's Best Warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles, 10 years, 100. You got to put them on your list. And if you've got a car you need to sell, talk to them. They'll even buy your car without you buying one at this time. You can say, not ready to buy a car just yet, but I got to dump this one. I don't have I got 2 cars at the house and 1 driver. So it's time to get rid of one. Yeah, they'll do all that for you. How you been, man?
Good, man.
I got a couple things going on. I got a call in from a congressional, candidate in Florida will be calling in. Because George Braun, And I called him this morning and I challenged him. I said, hey, man, get somebody from China, Epoch Times or something.
Oh, Epoch Times.
Yeah, on this morning to talk about Hong Kong.
Uh-huh.
Because they just did some shutdowns on the press there. So I want to talk about that.
Uh-huh.
He'll find somebody. He called me back and said, I got calls out to like this guy in person, Epoch Times, all that. We'll get somebody.
Cool.
And we'll see, we'll see. And so I got probably 2 calls from George if he can get that. It's a challenge this morning, man.
Uh-huh. I like that challenge, man.
I said, okay, buddy, sharpen your pencil. Find out what you can do.
Yeah, I follow them. They're really good news or outlet.
I like them. I like them a lot. And then you've got a congressional aide from Gozar's office calling in at 8 o'clock.
Benny Ray Harmony, yeah.
Okay, which I'm looking forward to. And so we won't talk about Hong Kong just yet. We'll see if we can get someone to call in. Biden is celebrating.
What is he celebrating?
Historic 2021 economic record.
Historic.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that's you got to sit down and think, oh, how do you put lipstick on that?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, he got mocked for it.
Okay.
He did. And what he said was, we're ending 2021 with what one analyst, he does say one analyst, not analyst. He says one analyst described as the strongest first-year economic track record of any president in the last 50 years. So let's keep the progress going. That was a tweet he put out.
Okay. From this one analyst that...
Yeah, so a lot of people are tweeting like, give me that guy's name.
Yeah, this is one guy.
Where is this guy?
We need to know.
Biden has failed to decide who that analyst is that claim this is the best economic recovery. In fact, some analysts are saying that, there was a big dip, if you remember, after the COVID. Stock market dropped, 35% or something? I mean, it just nailed. And this recovery was mostly done all under Trump before Biden ever took the oath.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Well, it's politics, right? Yeah.
No,
take credit.
It's a terrible side of some politicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
Not all.
Not all, yeah.
It's just not an automatic. Well, you're a politician, so I need to lie and take credit for stuff I didn't even know about. Mm-hmm. No, it's not the case. Not for everybody, but blame everything on Trump that you did, like withdraw from Afghanistan, he blamed on Trump. Well, it was Trump's plan. I couldn't deviate. And then take credit for everything he did do that you really don't know what it is yet. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. It's kind of insane, the hypocrisy and the stuff that's going on. It just blows me away. You to sit down and talk about it, it's easy, but it's so outrageous. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't already know it was true. Like nobody would do that.
Somebody was mentioning on Twitter yesterday the reason why they changed the dates for how long you have to quarantine from 5 down from 10.
Tell me.
Is because he doesn't want another economic disaster. That's why you can go to work after 5 without getting tested. Because if people had to stay the whole 10, it will shut down the economy again.
I completely understand that, and I think that was alluded to in the conversation that Fauci put out. But he wrapped it around science.
Well, of course.
He wrapped it around science. And then he said, what he said on the science end of it, he says the shedding or the being, transmitting the virus and being, to infect others happens like 2 days before and like 2 days after the infection peak. So you may not even, you may be spreading the virus before you really get sick for a couple of days. And then after you're sick and you're like, holy crap, I got to go home. Then 2 days after that, you're shedding. Scientifically, that's what they studied. So that's why they lowered it to 5 days. After you're sick, 5 days should give you a cushion and everything. Makes sense. And then the thing that's not science that he threw in there, unless you haven't been vaccinated, then it's still 10. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that part.
That's just the punishment part. Like you vax deniers, you.
Yeah, they need the punishment.
Punishment. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, it's George Braun, your Washington Bureau Chief in Florida.
George, good.
Sunny Florida.
Good morning, George Braun.
How are you? Hey, Neil McCabe's calling in a couple of seconds here. If we can get him on, tell us what's going on in Hong Kong right now.
I just hung up on the other phone because I normally keep it open. So since you called, George, I went ahead and opened it up. And you've already you're aware of Hong Kong right now. They've shut down the free press.
Yeah, and hang on, what else? Denise Ho was arrested, and the other news site was shut down.
Okay.
I got a call into Epoch Times. I got a call into Simone Gao over at Zoomin, which is a Hong Kong television affiliate that I'm on all the time.
Okay.
And so hopefully we'll have them out either on today or tomorrow. Plus, we have Amanda Mackey at 7:05 this morning. So
yeah, and now she lives in Tampa.
No, Amanda does.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought I looked at her briefly. Was it?
Actually, I was down here meeting with the powers that be. We'll be having Pam Bondi on the show fairly quickly.
Oh.
Attorney General and former Attorney General, and also I met with DeSantis' office this week. So
yeah, I'd like to get somebody talking to us about some of the stuff with the COVID that they seem to be battling the federal government now. I mean, because they're doing such great numbers in Florida. The average 7-day death thing is like low single digits, 1s, 2s, 3s. For a state that size, phenomenal what that governor's done. It doesn't get national news, and the federal government started cutting off.
The biggest thing is that what we're now hearing from the big people that are preparing the lawsuits against hospitals is this is the equivalent of the what happened with the Pinto. That it's cheaper to defend against the lawsuits than it is to
fix a problem. Yeah.
But, we're making so much money off of this. You get paid 20% more if you only use Recidivir and no other treatment on a patient. They get paid for every single person that tests positive to COVID. That's why they test you when you come in. You get more money if you go on a ventilator, and you get paid more money if you die. So the incentive for somebody to come in, not be treated with ivermectin, not be treated with hydroxychloroquine, only Recidivir, and not getting the monoclonal, my plasma, is about $100,000 more than what they would get if they didn't do this, and it's just a sin. And
it is. It is.
I haven't met anybody who's had a relative that's gone on a ventilator that's come off of one.
No, I
actually had a case in Las Vegas, one of my clients, and we actually had to threaten to sue every doctor personally to keep them from putting on a ventilator. And we got him out of there, got him into what would you call Frontier or First Round?
I call them Frontline and Frontier. I've heard two names being used.
We put him on ivermectin, and he was well within 5 days. And now he has the antibodies. I mean, the biggest thing that they did a genome, the genetic sequencing of Omicron. And by the way, they can't test for this with a PCR test. They can't test with this thing with swab in your nose. They can't tell the difference between Delta, Omicron, the flu, or the common cold.
Yeah, any coronavirus,
yeah, at all. And, for them to tell you that, well, we've got a spike in Omicron when you've got to pull out the electron microscope and go through this. The only really great thing that everybody is now saying after reading the results down in South Africa, and we don't even need to hear from Fauci on this, the results we're getting from South Africa show that if you get this, you have the antibodies, and it's now on your blood, in your bone marrow.
Yep.
And so this is the equivalent of what a vaccine is. Do you know the term vaccine is French? It's cow.
Cow?
Yeah, because cowpox was the original vaccine. Vacca is cow in French. And vaccine comes from cowpox, which is what we gave people, which was a lot like smallpox, and it would give you the antibodies.
Oh, really? But you survived the cowpox and not the small.
Yeah, because of the fact that it was a weakened, and that's what a vaccine originally was. You got a weakened thing on it, and there is actually a coronavirus weakened vaccine out there, but it hasn't been approved for the United States. Of course, Pfizer's brand isn't approved. The one that is approved, we're not making in the United States, and that's a lawsuit currently in front of the Court of Appeals on because you can't force a military person to take a experimental, as long as they're still under emergency use authorization. It's still something that you can't mandate.
That's why they rushed the approval, and they actually lied about it.
The other thing is that actually, if one's approved, all the other ones can't be on the market until they're approved. So if they take Pfizer off the EUA, they lose their liability. But Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, all of those have to be taken. Stop being used.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, so that's what the lawsuit is saying. And the judge in that case actually said, well, it's the same stuff as what, it's just a different label. Because that I need to see the whole label and everything else so I can compare the ingredients. And they go, well, we can't do that. And he goes, well, you and I both know that under current patent law, a label means everything. So there is a difference if you're telling us that. And so you can't sell this and tell us that it's approved when it's not. So it's going to be kind of an interesting thing. Anyway, we should be hearing from.
I got the phone on the hook. Yeah, let me go to commercial. I'm going to leave you on air. I'll go to commercial if he calls.
Okay.
I'll take the commercial off. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back. AM 560 KBLU.
Increasing clouds force here today. Temperatures again running a few degrees below average. Slight chance for a shower later this afternoon. Mid-60s. Better rain chances tonight. Mid-50s. Early showers Friday. Becoming sunny late in the day. Low 60s. Do you think it's okay to drive stone? The truth is your reaction time slows way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Stop kidding yourself. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Grown-ups devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. Take responsibility for your family's future and get your estate in order. Call my friends Sean Garner and Adam Hansen, attorneys at the law firm of Deason, Garner, and Hansen. Sean and Adam believe in giving free education to help people make smart decisions about their assets and leave a legacy for their family that they can be proud of. Schedule a consultation today. Visit yumaestateplanning.com. AgNetWest.com.
In today's Farm and Ranch headlines from AgNet West, the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
AM 560 KVO. Russ Clark back with you. I got Johnny in studio.
Good morning.
Got Neil as promised on air, but I hung up on George. George, call me back. George, I didn't do it. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, how are you, man?
Well,
doing great.
And you called in from Turkey. What time is it in Turkey?
I think it's like 4 in the afternoon, I think.
Oh, so you didn't have to wake up. I think I got George back. George, good morning.
Hey, George.
You hung up on me again.
I'm good at it. Anyway.
Yeah, it happens.
I got your guest on, my friend.
Oh, good. Okay, Neil, tell us what the heck's going on in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's really strange because Hong Kong had started to calm down. We remember 2 years ago, there were nights where there were literally 2 million protesters in the streets protesting the changes that the Chi-Coms were putting into the running of the assembly, the elections for the assembly. Then with COVID and everything else, things started to calm down, and the world sort of moved on to worry about other problems like, say, Afghanistan. But the whole time, the Chinese government has been violating its agreement that it had with Margaret Thatcher and the British, which said we would have one country, 2 systems. Hong Kong would be inside China. The sovereignty of it recognize the sovereignty of China, the People's Republic of China, but it would maintain the old English system of law and traditions and the Constitution for at least 50 years. It hasn't been 50 years yet. And what we're seeing now is a fresh crackdown where there's a very popular Cantonese pop singer, Denise Ho, who has been vocal about what's going on in Hong Kong, defending democracy, speaking out in favor of democracy. She has been arrested. There's been another a news site called Stand News, which has been shut down. The staffers have been arrested, and now they're going on trial for sedition because of the new sedition laws that are now in Hong Kong. And of course, Jimmy Lai, who is the billionaire owner of the largest, most popular newspaper and news site in Hong Kong before it was shut down, called Apple Daily. Jimmy Lai was a billionaire who was someone who really was sort of the face of the new Hong Kong for years. He was showing that Hong Kong could survive inside China, that the one country, 2 system process or procedures were working, but they cracked down on him. Apple Daily is done, and he is in jail also. And so, the Biden administration has really done nothing to go toe-to-toe with the Chi-Coms. We remember in February, just 10 months ago, the first sort of big summit that the Biden administration had was with Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State. He had sort of a quickie pop-up summit in Anchorage, Alaska, with the Chinese foreign minister named Yi Wang, and Wang just took the guy to town. Wang just screamed at him. It was absolutely embarrassing. Blinken had no response. Blinken was completely unprepared.
Oh.
And how did the Biden administration respond? They shut down investigations into Chinese influence in American businesses and universities. And then, of course, we saw they did that sort of fake boycott of the Chinese Winter Olympics over the human rights with the Uyghurs. And so, here we are. China promised that they would respect the laws and traditions of Hong Kong for 50 years, and they're violating that agreement. England does nothing, but, what can England do, right? England a month ago made a big show of parading their new aircraft carrier around the Pacific Ocean as a show of strength. Meanwhile, the Chi-Coms are just arresting everybody and shutting down the news site.
Well, these things aren't going to reopen from what it sounds like. I mean, it looks like they raided them, took them over.
Yeah. These things aren't coming back. There is no reason for the Chinese to go backwards. And, I think that their hand was forced by the protests in that that were going on 2 years ago, because the mood in the streets 2 years ago in Hong Kong was that people were willing to die for freedom. And they were taking this very seriously. But, we'll see what's happened now. I mean, those kids that were the 2 million kids that were in the streets, they still live there. And so, what's going to happen? Do they just change their mind to become communists now? I don't think so.
No. Well, they used an excuse, and I think the government used an excuse that shuts everything down, shuts down conversation, just like calling someone a racist kind of shuts down conversation. They said it endangered national security. And that's so vague, and you can't. What are you going to say to that?
Well, I mean, they use it here in the U.S. I mean, I remember in the spring and summer of 2016, the Chinese government started using a phrase, fake news, because they said that news sites were reporting on weather and other natural disasters incorrectly, and it was endangering people's lives. The biggest case was in Beijing. There was the flooding of their largest subway station, and they said that news sites, because news sites were not reporting on it properly, lives were endangered, and so the Chinese government had to get involved to start correcting the news, and they started calling these fake weather reports and other things, they started calling it fake news. So before we heard about fake news in the U.S., it was being used by China to basically set the record straight. And the Chinese guy says, we're just going to fact check things. And then they said, before you post something, we want to look at it first. And this all happened in China, and now we're literally seeing it in the United States with what we're seeing with Facebook and Twitter, the other social media companies, and they're sort of these fake fact checkers, which are completely crazy and wrong. I mean, they're all financed by George Soros and other leftists, and they're the guys sort of fact checking everything for Twitter and Facebook. What they're doing in China, it's not coming to the U.S. It's here in the U.S.
Yes, it has been. That's why I say it sounds so familiar. We tend to use that, or at least our politicians use that to excuse behavior that otherwise would be unacceptable.
Right. See, China has another thing where they have the social credits, right? Where you get demerits if you do things that are a detriment to the community. And everyone has a scorecard now on how good a citizen you actually are. And if your scorecard falls below a certain point, well, then you get deplatformed. Well, I mean, that's what we're hearing. Back in the day, right, when you and I were growing up, George and Russ, right? They used to talk about, troop movements, right? Would the press print troop movements was the thing about, how the government restrict free speech or the free press. Now the way they suppress everything is completely out of control. There are no bounds. It's, if I question the validity of the 2020 election, I'm an insurrectionist, I'm a troublemaker. Al Gore could take the 2000 election to the Supreme Court, right? The Democrats challenged Ohio. They tried to decertify Ohio in 2004. That was defending democracy, if you look up those speeches. Today, if we say it, if I say it too much, I might get kicked off Uber, right? I know people who've been kicked off Uber. They lost their right to have bank accounts. They can't, forget being on Facebook. Like, I know dozens of people who are no longer allowed on Facebook and Twitter. That's just child's play. What'll happen when they say you can't use a bank anymore?
And have we started using a scorecard? I'm sure we have some kind of scorecard for our media right now. I know they rank or judge.
One time you can't go into the hospital, or because of the fact, we should be able to tell people that are unvaccinated that they stand in line behind the other thing. And I go, well, would you have done that with AIDS? And but think about this. They also would want to tell you that you can't go into a grocery store. You can't leave your house. Look at what's going on in Australia. Look what's going on in Austria. And now you're seeing bigger crowds around the world. They're tracking you on social media.
Yeah.
In fact, in the U.S. military, the Pentagon is going after so-called extremists. I have no idea what an extremist actually is. It's never actually been defined. I'm in the Army Reserve. I've spoken to JAG officers who can't tell me what an extremist is, but I do know that if you're a Muslim and you go to a mosque, women are in one room and men are in the other room. Is that extremist? I don't know. I belong to a church that teaches that homosexuality or being tempted that same-sex attraction is a sin. Well, the Pentagon celebrates gay pride every June. Am I now an extremist because I'm a practicing Catholic?
Great questions.
What does it actually mean?
Great questions.
Well, on the same token, they're not going to say that a Muslim who believes the same thing would be an extremist. And
there are
we actually asked one time, and I said, well,
I didn't know that.
Well, who would have known that the internet would be that permanent record that they warned us about in high school?
Well, this is what I say, George. George, what I say is doctors bury their mistakes. Mine live forever on the internet.
There you go. Now, everyone's watching this Hong Kong thing, obviously. My fear is that our government's watching it as, wow, this really works. That's what I look at today. I look at this and I say, my God, we're next.
Yeah, I think the shocking thing when you look through history is how many times the government made grabs like this and people did nothing.
Right.
Because for regular people, well, their grocery store is still open. The schools are still open. You can still watch your game shows on TV. It's like, what's changed? Nothing's changed. Everything's fine.
Right.
And if there's a few troublemakers, well, I'm not a troublemaker, so what do I care? And that's how it goes. And then you just never have elections again.
Well, and Biden said he would stand up for Hong Kong. And we got Anthony Blinken now, the Secretary of State, who, what, do you give him a Twitter rebuke? That's about it? We got a Twitter rebuke?
I'm old enough to remember when a Twitter rebuke used to be, in the last administration, that was something. You did not want... There was a president of the United States, when he tweeted, people stood up and listened, Anthony Blinken said journalism is not sedition. Yeah? Well, maybe you should look at how his administration treats conservative outlets. It's like, is Chanel Rion at One American News sedition? I think Biden administration treats her like she's seditious.
Yeah. I don't think...
what about...
Okay, go ahead, George.
What about the, remember when Michelle Obama held up a sign and said, bring the little girls back. Wow. Against the people down in Africa, and all those girls disappeared.
I forgot about that.
Seriously, you got to be scared of these administrations. That Biden makes the paper tiger that was Obama look like, nobody's business.
So, and Neil, I have to ask you, and then we're talking to Neil McKay, but with the Tennessee Star, what are you doing in Turkey? You checking on my friend John Kyle or something?
Well, it just so happens that...
I'm sorry, Jeff Flake. Jeff Flake's over there. That's right.
Yeah. My dear wife... My dear wife is...
There, I had to get rid of George. I'm sorry. He hung up or something. Something happened. But go ahead.
Okay. No. So my dear wife was in the process of getting her green card when her father fell ill with a serious stroke that later he succumbed to. But because she left in the middle of that process, we're waiting for her to get a visa to return to the U.S.
Okay.
And so right now, Americans and Indonesians are allowed to go to Turkey without quarantine, and so here we are. This is where I see my wife, and I'll tell you, there's buses and buses of Indonesians in Turkey.
Oh, it's all the get around for the COVID. The only way to have a face-to-face. That's great.
Plus, it's amazing because we went to Ephesus, where St. Paul and St. John both. Paul lived there for 3 years. St. John wrote his gospel in Ephesus. And of course, St. Mary was taken there by St. John, and they've built a shrine on the remains of a house that the locals have said belonged to St. Mary. And of course, there's an ancient city of Ephesus, which was the third largest city in the Roman world, that was visited by Julius Caesar and Hadrian, Trajan, Mark Antony, Cleopatra. So we've done the whole archaeological tour. It's been a remarkable trip, Russ.
Well, you're a studying Catholic. You know the history.
Yeah, well, also you should talk to Edward Garrity. Actually lived in Istanbul for a couple of years.
Yeah, well,
and
he was on house arrest.
Fascinating story.
Yeah, we're in Istanbul now, and of course, the fact that the Turkish lira is collapsing against the dollar means that I can be the big man. You know what? I will order the steak.
Wow. Well, you can even pick up a tab or two then. That's great.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well,
I was watching that movie the other day. What was it? 3 Men and a Baby, and he calls back and the narcotics cops in there. Oh, you can't believe how cheap everything is.
That's right. Hey, Neil, I appreciate the last minute call and calling in. It's a lot of things are happening in the world, and it's good to have somebody with some authority that tells us. George, we're going to run it out.
Russ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I will tell you this before I break off. Please check out the Arizona Sun-Times.
Okay. George, I lost George again, but I'm here. But Arizona Sun-Times, you got something to do with that, or?
The Arizona Sun-Times is part of the Star News Network. The Tennessee Star is the flagship, but we now have 10 news sites that are part of our network. I'm the political editor of all 10 news sites, and the one we have in Arizona is the Arizona Sun-Times. And our reporter, Rachel Alexander, is fantastic.
I'm going to have to get to know her. Okay, and
Absolutely.
Thanks for getting that out. Thanks for spending the time, and enjoy your time in Turkey until you get home again.
I would go anywhere in the world if it means I could see my wife.
There you go.
So there you are.
What a great deal. You take care, sir.
Take care, man.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It's Neil McCabe, political editor. Guys, I didn't know they had so many affiliations now, 10 different newspapers. But
I have to check it out now.
We'll be right back. AM 560, KBLU.
In today's Farm and Ranch headlines from AgNet West, the Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is being expanded to incorporate new opportunities. More details after this.
AgNet West Radio Network, your trusted ag news provider for California and Arizona. Our broadcast team of Danielle Leal, Brian German, and Sabrina Halverson deliver the latest local, state, and national headlines throughout the week on this radio station. Get your ag news here every weekday or through the Ag News Hour podcast, available online at agnetwest.com. Stay informed on the most pressing agricultural issues with AgNet West Radio Network, your primary choice for agriculture news.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us.
All of us.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. Support us at 4h.org.
USDA announced that it will be leveraging its authority to expand the program and ultimately provide more access to voluntary conservation activities for farmers and landowners. Program standards pertaining to matching fund requirements have been updated after incorporating input from state agencies, producers, and other stakeholder groups. USDA has also invested in additional personnel to provide assistance to program participants and help streamline conservation efforts. The changes to the program will allow partners to use cash, in-kind contributions, or technical assistance when providing their matching funds. Partners will now also have a negotiated level of matching funds under the recent rule change. Historically, 50% of matching funds were to be provided in the form of direct payments, with the previous system making it difficult for certain groups to participate in the program. Changes to the program were enacted through a rule in the Federal Register, which should increase flexibility and opportunity for additional participation. I'm Brian German for AgNet West Radio Network.
Arizona Marketplace is the largest and best outdoor market in New County. Looking for unique items? Arizona Marketplace is your place. It's safe, clean, even the bathrooms, shade, daily entertainment, food vendors, and RV storage. If unique is what you seek, they have everything you're looking for. Divvy entertainment suitable for all ages. So round up the crew and head over to Arizona Marketplace. You just have to explore it. 3351 South Avenue 4E. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Picture this. You're a business owner who doesn't advertise. You wake after sleeping under an advertised blanket, on an advertised mattress. You check your messages on an advertised phone. You get ready using advertised soap, shampoo. You get dressed in your advertised clothes. Put on your advertised shoes. You have breakfast eating advertised food and drink advertised coffee or juice. Then you get into your advertised car, drive to work while seeing and listening to advertising, only to arrive and sit at an advertised desk, work on an advertised computer using advertised internet. Then you refuse to advertise, saying advertising doesn't work. Then when your business fails, you call up various advertising companies to advertise your business or building for sale. Sounds crazy, right? But it happens every day in small businesses everywhere. If you believe in your business, your advertising should be a top priority. People go where they're invited to. If you don't invite people to come, you'll be out of business. Period. Learn how not to be this cautionary tale at yumaadvertising.com.
When you really love your community, you show that love in a number of ways. You volunteer your time and donate to your favorite charities. But did you know that there are ways to give that can provide you or a loved one with supplemental income? I'm Veronica Shore with the Arizona Community Foundation of Yuma. If you'd like to learn how a life income gift can make a difference for generations, talk to us today at 928-539-5343 or visit azfoundation.org/Yuma. Give where you live and get income for life. azfoundation.org/Yuma.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like saddling up and chasing down.
Look at that sweet moolah!
That big old cash cow.
Look at all that money!
File for free with TaxSlayer Simply Free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Want to hear how I almost got off the naughty list this year? I helped Santa save gazillions by having him download Capital One Shopping to his computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. You can download it too and save a bundle. You don't even need a Capital One card and it's free. So why didn't I get off the naughty list? Turns out Santa's a stickler for naughty words. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you. Johnny's in studio.
Yes, sir.
I have Gary Snyder on the phone. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing today.
Good. What are you up to?
I'm up to just doing some background checking, some information checking, some fact checking. You know, just a normal day.
Just a normal day. Well, you put you wanted to call in. I was hoping you weren't arrested and looking for ransom because I don't have any money.
Yeah, we don't have pesos. No, I wanted to call in and say Happy New Year's, just in case we don't get to talk to each other the next day for ransom purposes.
That's right. It's
coming
one
up.
day away.
Yeah.
Yeah, you become a little bit more like Project Veritas. I'm starting to worry about you. You know, James O'Keefe. You know, and you.
Of course.
But it's good, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you being on the border and letting us know and communicating to us what the press doesn't.
Well, that's what we need to do here in Yuma County to make it well known, especially for the security of our citizens here in Yuma County, but most importantly, state of Arizona. Because from here they come in, they go into Phoenix or any other designated area, more towards Tucson or the Tohono tribe or through Cocopah tribal lands. What I was calling in is I come to find out a few days ago I had a end of the year dinner for the campaign to celebrate everyone, in 2021, the hard work that we did, all the conservative clubs. And I come to find out my opponent from the Democratic side, Carol Engler, has pulled back from the state Senate run. Then later the next day, I find out that the same day that the redistricting came out with the approved maps, that Brian S. Fernandez, the son of Charlene Fernandez, that used to be the state house representative and an ex-whip, that she resigned and went to the White House administration in charge of the agriculture slush funds, you would call them. Her son took over her spot that will be starting at the legislature this year as an appointed precinct committeeman and follow her mom's footsteps. Gentleman, I checked the database of the GOP. Him, his brother, and his sister that, are basically 40 plus years old, married, is registered here in Yuma County at Charlene Fernandez's house, living there.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, all four of them. So his wife, him, his sister, and brother all live at the mom's house. Well, what a coincidence when you just Google his name. Not even hard, just Google. It shows a gentleman who lived in D.C., gentleman's lived in Boston, gentleman's lived in L.A., Phoenix, not even in our district, but yet he's registered still living here in Yuma. That's how he was able to be appointed for his mom's position right now.
So he's not he's not even living in Yuma?
No, actually, they would be amazed if you notice when it was mentioned that that Charlene Fernandez's son was taken over. It's amazing in our local news, not even the newspaper as well. There was no picture of the son. No one really knew the son, and I still Google, and you don't find any pictures of the son. I had to literally go on the social media and backtrack all the way to 2012 to find pictures of him.
But do you know where he lives? I mean, does he live in the state?
Right now he lives in Phoenix.
Wait,
his sister lives in Phoenix as well.
Okay.
They did not live in the house.
I wonder if he's registered to vote in Phoenix too.
Well, probably too, but I have the data GOP where it shows all three of the children live with the mom, which we know that they don't live here.
Right. No, they don't. We would know. It's a small town. We would know who lives here.
Exactly. But it was nice to know who really is my opponent now. So he's running for state senate versus me in the new redistricting area that is number 23. That currently was 4.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a fun integrity race, like you call it already.
But that's already a violation. I remember. Years ago it was out of Phoenix. It was a Derek. I forget the guys that had to go to court over that. And he actually lived in the district, but they claimed he didn't because he was a guy that bought and sold houses, and he had a mailing address just outside the district. And Russell Jones took him to court. And Darren Mitchell, and Darren Mitchell won that.
Darren Mitchell,
because he actually was living in the district. He just it was a house that was under construction at the same time. He was living in half of the house, the other half was being under construction. But that's what he did for a living. He did that for a living. He would buy a house, live in it while he was remodeling and all that kind of stuff, and then move out. But yeah, that's not the case here. He's actually in Phoenix. That's weird.
Yeah, we would love to see. Okay, it's believable. It says, he lives in the district within, our area would be Buckeye. Now the new area is Goodyear. We say if you live there, we can believe that, but not living with his mom here in Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah, you would. It would be not hard to figure that one out.
That is correct. And like the sister, it already shows, online that she's a campaign manager for a few of the major campaigns in Phoenix. She obviously lives in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Unless you're saying that the gentleman's 44 years old, married, no children, and all three of them live at their house, at their mom's house, don't work, because you would know if they worked here in Yuma County. You would see them.
Yeah.
But it was nice to find out that, that a privileged Charlene Fernandez is taking care of her sons to do her work.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But legally, you have to live in the district, in the state.
Yeah, you have to live in the state for about a year. But like I said, all this was pre-planned. You know, the Dems don't do anything just on the spur of the moment. They already have the plan set up. So Mommy's now in charge of the agriculture slush funds that go to the nonprofits, or the helping hands for the campaign. For
but I'm sure he has.
2022.
I'm sure he has a day job. Where does he work?
Well, when you Google, supposedly he says he used to work for Grijalva, used to work for basically all the far left.
He's a
socialites.
he's a political aide then.
Aide, consultant,
Consultant,
helped
also.
out. You know, that's all it says.
All right. I was just curious if he showed up to a 9 to 5 in Phoenix every day. It'd be kind of hard to say he lives in Yuma, but
Correct. Well, now, especially now that now he's taken over his mom's seat. You know, the gentleman wants to run for state senate because he knows his on quotation on his social media. My sister Lisa is about to retire from the state senate, so it's my privilege to take her spot.
there you go. All right. Hey, I appreciate the call. You take care. Have a happy New Year. If I
And
don't
once
hear
again, Happy New Year's to everyone listening, and we'll see you in 2022 when we take that seat setting.
you got it, buddy. Take care. As Gary Snyder, I keep forgetting he's a candidate. I don't.
Oh, you do? Oh, no.
Well, because I generally call him over. He calls about border issues and other things, and because he really takes care of the community. I mean, he does.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that's always out on the front lines, calling with information and helping and things. I do appreciate him. He's been good this year. A big help.
Yeah,
big help.
and a good friend of the show.
Yeah, he's been a big help for all of it. Really nice. And George came through.
He did.
With
The
Neil
challenge accepted, and he rose to the occasion.
Well, he had that. He got that one nailed, didn't he?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, and we get the political editor from the newspaper to call in right away from Turkey. That's kind of nice, kind of special that he does that. And then he's got another guest calling in at 7:00, a congressional candidate out of Tampa, Florida, Florida District 13. And be looking forward to that. On the Hong Kong democracy thing that we were talking about, the cutting down the pro-democracy media, they actually raided it. The National Security Police raided it. It's called Stand News, a pro-democracy media company. It was based in Hong Kong. They arrested 7 people associated with the publication on Wednesday. That was yesterday, of course. And they said it was all over national natural interest because of national security. That's exactly what we say in this country.
Okay.
What has to do with national security?
So does that sound familiar?
Yes, it is. Or it's the same game plan.
It's the same thing they just did to Project Veritas over a diary that they did not have.
Well,
they already turned over.
They had it.
They had it.
They realized they couldn't be verified, so they turned it over to the police and said, "Look, we ended up with this thing. It was given to us by somebody. They said it was who did it belong to? One of the Biden family members.
Yeah, the daughter.
The daughter. And they turned it over. And then they come and arrested him for having it.
Yes, and they went still.
They
and
could have put it in a
arrested him.
dumpster.
Raided him, and it took his cell phone, and
it's because he's a conservative.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds very familiar. What's going on in China and Hong Kong.
James O'Keefe is tough. He'll put up with it, and hopefully he has more protection they do in Hong Kong. But I don't know if we keep giving that up. We keep giving that away.
We'll see.
We can't. We got to fight for it. For free press. I heard something the other day. It was a liberal think tank or somebody talking about free press and all that, and freedom of speech. And they said they're tired of Donald Trump talking about freedom of speech. He gets to talk all he wants. He just talked yesterday. He can talk anytime he wants. That's not the point. The point is he doesn't get access to all the speech social medias.
Yeah.
They turned him off. And they're getting protected by the U.S. government because he can't sue them because they're protected by Section 230 or Section 230. So, and then the left says, he gets to talk all he wants to go out in the square. Okay, let's turn off all the left social media and see if you say the same thing. And come and attack them. Of course, I'm not for that.
Yeah,
I'm for complete openness. We should allow everybody to talk, including President Trump. He should be out there. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen when his new internet speech or social media
social
speech
media.
Comes out there, because there's been talk about how they're going to shut it down. Now, they can't shut it down like they did with the Parler. Parler was shut down because they had control of the servers through Amazon. And Amazon said, after they gave them high marks, you're a great company, you're doing everything right, and all that, then they shut them down because you're not following the program. And it was all just a shut. It was growing like crazy. Donald Trump went over there, and all of a sudden they were growing exponentially. And they all got together and shut them down. They said, we can't have competition for Facebook and Twitter and all those things. They just shut them down.
Yep.
That they're still around now. I mean, they came back on, but now the interest isn't there because they're actually so careful to conform to what all the other guys are telling them to do.
Yeah, they will.
They're just another also-ran.
Yeah, well, because they have to censor you based upon the agreement with Apple or Android, depending on which platform.
Which means Donald Trump can't be on.
Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. They
yeah,
just
and there's no freedom with them. So why even go to Parler?
Mhm.
You know.
That's why Ben Swan started Sovereign. So he's not on any platform. You have to go straight on the internet, and he's using blockchain technologies.
And that's what Donald Trump was going to use, the blockchain technologies and all that stuff. And the question is how are they going to stop that? I'm sure there's ways, but that would take federal involvement.
Yeah, and I don't think there's ways once you get the technology down right. It's just
well, they could get the national security guys in there to shut down the offices and take away their equipment.
There you go. Yeah, they could do something like
That's
that, which would be lawsuits. But
Well-
it's not beneath them.
No, national security.
Yeah.
That's all they got to say now.
Talking about that, have you seen what's going on in the bill they're about to vote on in New York?
No.
They're about to vote on a bill that the governor of New York has the right to detain any person that he deems a health threat indefinitely in a place that they deem appropriate.
Awesome.
That's about to be, I forget the name of the bill right now. I could look it up here in a minute.
I
But
would want to put an amendment on that.
What's that?
If you give the governor that power, you also need to give somebody from the opposing party the same power.
See, but yeah,
That'd be great. They say, well, I'm going to put this guy in jail. Well, then I'm going to put this guy in.
So yeah, this is a straight up jail, but
Yeah.
it says any place they deem necessary.
Right.
Anyone they deem a public health threat. Health threat is what they're saying. It's about to be voted on in New York.
That sounds innocent to me.
Yeah, it
That
does.
doesn't sound like it could ever become a problem.
Right? Deem is the word that they use. That's the legal word.
Okay.
That they get to use.
All you have to do is sit down and before you approve of that bill, imagine the governor in power that you disagree with the most, that you're most afraid of, takes
Right?
office. What do you do to protect yourself?
Exactly. But this already passed in in Australia and Victoria. This is already law.
Well,
they're able to do that, and this happened somewhere else. I forget the other country that voted on this and it passed. So this is like a global movement.
Project Veritas would all be incarcerated at this point because of a health threat.
Because of a health threat.
And yet your politicians can go anywhere they want, take off their masks, play around, and it doesn't matter.
So it's crazy that's where we are as a society.
Yes, it is. It's not coming, it's here.
It's here.
But we just can't let it spread. I mean, this is a virus that needs to be contained to New York. Everybody moved to Florida. When there's nobody in New York, the governor can put anybody he wants in jail. We'll be back. It's top of the hour. We'll be back after this, AM 560, KBLU.
I can't twist the truth. It knows no regulation. Handful of senators don't pass legislation. And marches alone can't bring integration. When human respect is disintegrating. This whole crazy world is just too frustrating. And you tell me.
From the 1 hour air conditioning and heating studio, this is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
President Biden has another phone call with Vladimir Putin today. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. It's the second call this month with the Russian president. talked about tension over Russian troops on the Ukraine border and security guarantees Putin wants from the U.S. and NATO.
The U.S. and Russia were already expected to hold talks in Geneva on January 10th ahead of the upcoming Organization for Security and Cooperation meeting. But now President Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin are scheduled to speak on the phone at Putin's request. The National Security Council says they'll discuss the upcoming talks as they continue to engage with allies, partners, and NATO regarding Russia's military buildup on Ukraine's border.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. A tiger was shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy at a zoo in Naples, Florida.
This is after a contractor put his arm inside the animal's enclosure. Collier County Sheriff's Office says the man was working for a cleanup company for the zoo, and he stuck his arm through the fence to either pet or feed the animal, neither of which he was authorized to do. The animal grabbed onto his arm, which officials say suffered severe injuries. The officer said he first tried to kick the enclosure, but was ultimately forced to fire his weapon to get the tiger to release the man's arm. The injured person described only as a man in his 20s. The animal was a 4-year-old Malayan tiger. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
There is damage from a severe storm and possibly a tornado in Alabama. There's a tornado risk in the south for more storms today through the weekend. A South African study finds 2 shots of Johnson & Johnson's coronavirus vaccine is 85% effective against hospitalizations from the new Omicron variant.
A different South African study found that 2 shots of the Pfizer vaccine cut the risk by about 70%. It's also important to note that the J&J study has not been peer-reviewed. While the FDA has okayed the Johnson & Johnson vaccine as a booster shot, the CDC has recommended that other vaccines be preferred over its concern about rare but life-threatening blood clots that have been linked to the J&J vaccine.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. America's listening to Fox News.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
And now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that the widely used non-contact thermometers are not accurate and have high probabilities for false negative readings. On top of that, they have inaccurate information on their labels regarding accuracy. New COVID strains are on the rise and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Don't wait. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure. Be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.
Here's the news in 60 seconds. UmaDailyNews.com. Dr. Marjorie Bessel is Chief Clinical Officer for Banner Health, Arizona's biggest healthcare system, and she's urging people to avoid New Year's gatherings. Bessel said Tuesday that people should avoid large crowds over New Year's weekend, even if they're vaccinated. Both Foothills and Somerton libraries have a complete list of all January 2022 activities for kids and adults. It has now been posted to our website for the community to check out, UmaDailyNews.com. State Representative from Yuma, Tim Dunn, is in charge of a new committee at the state capitol that identifies ways to grow Arizona's international relationships. Areas of interest include trade, border security, and foreign investment. Get more details, UmaDailyNews.com. A pill to treat COVID-19 is on the way to Arizona and should arrive this week. The pill, known as Paxlovid, is used to treat mild to moderate symptoms in people ages 12 and older experiencing COVID. If you have ideas for local stories, go ahead and send us an idea. Newsroom at UmaDailyNews.com. I'm Andrew Caravella.
Mickey B's Cocktail Lounge has a new look because they have new ownership. Come celebrate to live entertainment and dance to your favorite oldies or country. If singing is your thing, karaoke every Monday and Wednesday, 6 p.m. till 10. Mickey B's is a supporter of our local veterans. So mark an appointment on your calendar to join in. Bring a friend or the whole office. Mickey B's opens 10 a.m. daily. 12635 South Frontage Road.
This December, Quichan Casino Resort is helping you take a load off your monthly expenses. Win a share of over $111,000 by playing every day December 1st through January 1st. Then, join us for hourly cash drawings from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. on December 11th and January 1st. 2 winners each drawing day will win $2,000 a month for an entire year. So much, so close. Quichan Casino Resort. Must be 21 and older. Management reserves all rights.
You've spent your life planning ahead, working hard and preparing for a comfortable retirement. This is Veronica Shore with the Arizona Community Foundation of Yuma. Heavy taxes on inherited IRA assets can leave your loved ones with little of your hard-earned savings, but your favorite charities can receive these gifts in full both today and through your estate plan. Talk to us about protecting your retirement assets while bringing your charitable goals to life. Call 928-539-5343 or visit azfoundation.org/Yuma.
Tax the rich, feed the poor, till there are no rich no more.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's Thursday morning, 6:06. Johnny's in studio with me.
Good morning, sir.
And George Braun's here with another guest. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm going to have to ask about my salary being doubled here, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to double it. No problem.
You're working overtime, George.
That's fine.
Hey, one of the things, we've got Amanda Mackey, who's running for Congress, and total disclosure, she was my landlord a long time ago, and really a wonderful person, and very big in Florida politics. A lot of people don't know this, but since 2000, when we had the Bush v. Gore case, I've been one of the lawyers that they call down to Florida, and I've worked every presidential campaign in Florida since 2004. And we said goodbye to one of our good friends, Dove Sussman, on Tuesday, who ran the war rooms for a long time. God rest his soul. And so anyway, while I was down here, I thought I'd give Amanda a call and see if she'd join us on the air to talk about, she's actually a naturalized citizen, went through it the legal way.
Oh, no.
And I'd like to find out, Amanda, you want to give us a little background on you?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, we can. Good morning.
Okay, great. Good morning. Yeah, so thanks for having me on. And as you know, I'm running for Congress here in Florida. And one of the things that I always like to talk to people about is, do you understand how many people legally immigrated here? And this is such a slap in the face to the people who are coming through the border. I mean, we basically don't have a border anymore.
Right.
You know, my family and I, we immigrated from Iran, and we came here when I was 11 months old. The revolution happened in Iran, and we escaped. We escaped basically with nothing. And my parents and I, we came here, and my father was a doctor in Iran, came here, couldn't even get a job as a busboy in a Chinese food restaurant. And he worked hard. My mom delivered Yellow Pages to put him through school. He ultimately became a surgeon, and he's a surgeon to this day. He's been a surgeon since 1985, and that's the American dream story. And that's the type of American dream we want to preserve. We don't want people coming here illegally, coming through the border, and by Democrat standards, here you go, welcome, you are now a voter, you are now a citizen.
Yeah.
And my theory has always been that you allow people come through the lower Rio Grande Valley, come through the border into the United States, and you will change the outcome of our presidential elections forever. Texas is a state that if they can get that to be a Democratic state, we will never make that up in the Electoral College. We will never make that up.
Yep.
So it's really important that we do everything that we can to stop what the Democrats are doing, which is to create an open border country.
You know, we've got Florida's in the news a lot. You guys are doing a lot of things right down there with Governor DeSantis. But I think you've got Joe Biden coming after you, taking away your antibodies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been doing that since the fall, really, when we had the worst cases because, you know, this is obviously something that you have a lot of people sitting inside the house. It's more likely to transfer. And so when the weather is extremely hot, as you guys are used to in Arizona as well, but when the weather is extremely hot, people are congregated inside. So our worst months, you know, August, September, July, Joe Biden said no monoclonal antibodies for Florida, or we're going to have to minimize it based on what New York needs and what other states need. Well, they didn't have the need at the time. So there was no reason to ding Florida. And thankfully, we have a governor who treats this really like a business. He doesn't take crap from the federal government or from Joe Biden. He said, that's fine. You don't want to give it we'll get it ourselves. And so he went out and purchased it, secured it for the state of Florida. And I talked to so many people, and now that COVID is back in the news again, you talk to people and they say, well, I have COVID, but I got the monoclonal antibodies and I'm feeling really great. And that's really proof positive that you don't need to only be focused on vaccines. While vaccines may be, one aspect of this and people may want to have vaccines, that is an individual decision, 100%. I got COVID in December of 2020, so a year ago, and I got it, and for 10 days, I could not break 100+ temperature.
Oh, wow.
10 days. On the 11th day, the 11th day happened to be Christmas, and I just thought, I'm getting worse. I don't know what to do, and there's really nothing you could do. So I called my father the surgeon. Go to the hospital, he said. I'm like, no, thank you. And be put on a ventilator to die? No, I'll pass. And so someone told me about ivermectin. I had no idea what it was. I didn't even have enough energy to Google it. I was like, whatever it is, if it's not going to kill me, I'll take it. I was able to get 4 pills, and those 4 pills, within an hour, I was better, within an hour. And the next day, my sense of taste and smell came back. That worked for me. And right now, our government, the FDA, the CDC, is trying to limit people from getting this drug, saying this is not a treatment. Well, doctors are now afraid to even prescribe the drug because they're afraid they're going to lose their license to practice.
Oh, they'll definitely. Yes.
Well, Amanda, they will also stop. They will stop you from. They won't stop you from mailing fentanyl or other opiates through the mail, but they're trying to stop ivermectin from being sent.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And it's just a very scary thing that in our country where doctors have prescribing ability and they're allowed unfettered access and always have been to writing whatever drug they see fit. If a doctor who is an ear, nose, and throat doctor wants to give you a medication for your heart, he is allowed to do that. She is allowed to do that. But now you have where doctors are fearful of even writing this drug. And that's what scares me about where our country's headed. And that's why we really need strong conservative leadership in our Congress. There isn't going to be anything we can do for the next 2.5 years with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That's what it is. But I, as someone who worked in Congress for a decade, I can tell you the power of the purse, the power that the legislative branch has, to me, is by far more potent than what one president can do in the sense of stopping agencies from doing bad things. And if I were in Congress right now, I would be stopping funding for these agencies that have anything to do with the border wall. So DHS, DOJ, whoever it is, I would be stopping their funding and saying, you need to fix the border crisis. Before you think about Build Back Better or any of this garbage you want to spend money on, you need to fix the border crisis. We have a crisis. You're ignoring it for your own political pandering.
Wow, I like that. I like the message. Obviously, you're a conservative.
Yes. I've never been mistaken for not being one.
Okay. Now, the other than the immigration, the defund the police thing has backfired. I think we've had some of the record murder rates in some of these Democratic cities. Should the federal government get involved in that, or just let these cities destroy themselves?
Well, isn't it interesting that President Trump tried to get involved with Chicago last year, and Lori Lightfoot said, thanks, but no thanks.
Correct.
And now you have her warming up to this idea because it's gotten so darn bad. But, you let the genie out of the bottle. I mean, it has gotten so bad that I don't know how they're going to turn this around. When you have cities in California where literally people are just taking items off the shelves and throwing them in bags and everyone's watching because the laws prohibit a police officer from arresting you if it's under a certain threshold amount, we are losing our country. I don't know that federal officers are going to be able to do much when the laws in these localities and the DAs in these localities aren't willing to enforce anything. That is the problem. You can have laws on the books, but if there are no teeth to those laws, what does it matter? Law enforcement is enforcing the laws.
And these voters that voted these DAs in, they don't show any signs of changing their methodology. They're moving forward. I mean,
well, actually, look at Virginia this last time. Biden won Virginia by 10 points, if you believe what they said. The state turned red in this last election, and and more importantly, you saw that Hispanic and black males actually. He lost all support. All the Democrats lost all support because there, frankly, is nothing there for a black or a Hispanic male.
But how do we get
penalized if you get married now?
How do we get the Iranian vote though?
Well, the Iranian American Persian. Well, they're kind of in certain areas. There's a large Jewish Iranian population in the Los Angeles area, also in Great Neck, New York. There are a lot of Iranians kind of spread out. Houston, again, California, New York, Washington, D.C. area. So it really depends. I was with a candidate, George Santos, last night, who is running in New York, and he represents would be representing the Great Neck area. And he said, 40% of the population there are Iranian Jews. So it's in clusters.
I didn't even know that.
I look at this. Yeah, yep. But I look at this as, you have, whether they're Iranian Americans, Vietnamese Americans, Hispanics, wherever you see groups that have come here, worked hard, persevered, those are the voting blocks that we should be attracting. They're conservative. They want good education for their kids. They want less business regulation, less taxes, less government interference. That's what they want. They should be Republicans. But until they see that there are people in the party that are like them or have immigrant stories or American dream stories like them, it's going to be hard to attract. But I think we've got to work on that, and I think President Trump did an incredible job building inroads there and making a difference for the Republicans as a whole.
But also, we want to see somebody who will fight for us.
Yes.
Everybody.
Well, the squad fights for their constituents. They're misguided. So you wouldn't join the squad, Amanda, if you
I would be fighting against the squad. And that's another nice thing about having a candidate that has that crossover appeal, to really be able to say, look, I'm going to go fight against those women who are a danger, not only in Congress, but also to our allies in the Middle East. I mean, boycott, divest, and sanction was a bill that they brought to the House floor 2 years ago. And that was the squad's doing, going against our strongest ally in the Middle East. And that's what they want to do. Wouldn't it be nice to have a counterpunch to that?
Yes.
Someone who's a Christian, someone who was born in the Middle East, someone who speaks the language, to go after them? I mean, I think that's really important for our party right now. Nancy Pelosi's giving them a long leash.
We really need you, because if I try to go after him, I just get the, your white privilege go away. See? They can't yell racist at you. That's awesome.
They can't, and that's the difference with, someone who didn't come here on the Mayflower. That's where people are gonna, people will listen when you talk about your legal immigration story. People are gonna listen. So there's that, and there's so many things right now that people are just concerned about the direction the country's headed in. And when you have people getting paid to sit at home, to not work, folks, that is socialism. Are we going
to get past the racism? I mean, I have never seen it like this, and it's not my fault, but I was born a white guy, even though I went to a historically black college in Delaware, but the racism was never like this when I was growing up. I went to college in the 80s, and it wasn't a big deal. I went to a black school, but it was fine. There was no issues. I don't know that it would be good today. I think there's been so much segregation coming from a lot of minorities that want to disown everything that is white supremacy. But the nice thing about white supremacy now is it's multicultural. You can be any race and be a member. And you can be a black man running for the governor of California and be the face of white supremacy.
Yeah, Yeah. It's very sad to see this in our country. I mean, it seems like we're going backwards instead of going forward.
Yes.
And that's very unfortunate to see, because this is not the America I grew up in. And I think that's the point that you're making. The America we grew up in, things were normal. People didn't even think about those things. Right. Kids certainly didn't say, well, she's this or she's that. It just wasn't like that. But now there's so much emphasis on this. And we've just got to get back to being the greatest country on earth. And people need to know that. That's one of the things that I want to push when I'm in Congress is, these kids and, young adults that are going out in our streets and desecrating our monuments and statues and all these things. It's like, people, you can't whitewash our history. It's our history, and you learn from it, and you progress. But when you send, for example, if we do this, if we introduce legislation that sends kids after high school, either they can join the military or do, a time in a third world country, they will appreciate everything that this country has to offer so much more. They will be such proud Americans. And they won't be focused on this, oh, she's this color, he's that color. It won't matter, because you're going to want to protect the greatest country on earth, because you're going to see just how bad it is in those other countries.
That's where
and by the way, for the people who say, oh, we can't build a wall, that's inhumane, just about every country has a wall, and no one says a damn thing.
Amanda, I like you. I would vote for you if you were a white guy.
Oh, thank you.
And it's a shame we have to say that today, but you would be much more powerful because of your of your history and your genealogy. You will be more powerful because that's going to make a difference in today's climate. Just those are the facts.
I think that having term limits, let me just say this, I think is another important thing. People need to restore faith in our legislative bodies, and people going there and getting fat and happy for too long. It's another thing. So, yes.
Yeah, good luck, and I want to see you there now. I'm going to be following you, even from Arizona. So, Georgia.
Arizona. Well, it's Amanda Mackey, M-A-K-K-I, because people always mistake how they spell my last name. Amanda Mackey, MAKKI.com. If you'd like to go online, learn more about me, contribute. I take contributions from all across the country.
Good for you. Thank you. and that's part of the game. That is part of the contest. The voting is one thing, but to get to that place, you have to attract donors. You do. That's just our system. It's a good system. I don't have a problem with it. And Amanda, you seem like the right candidate to me. George, I'm running out of time.
Well, thank you very much, Amanda, for coming on. And unfortunately, I have to leave Tampa Bay, Florida, and fly back to Washington today. So I'm going to leave this wonderful weather for cold. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on, Amanda. Thank you very much, Russ, for everything. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye. And I'll be right back.
In today's Ag Business Update from AgNet West, carbon sequestration's new innovations and opportunities. We'll find out more in a report with USDA's Rod Bain after the break.
AgNet West Radio Network, your trusted ag news provider for California and Arizona. Our broadcast team of Danielle Leal, Brian German, and Sabrina Halverson deliver the latest local, state, and national headlines throughout the week on this radio station. Get your ag news here every weekday or through the Ag News Hour podcast, available online at agnetwest.com. Stay informed on the most pressing agricultural issues with AgNet West Radio Network, your primary choice for agriculture news.
Carbon sequestration via agriculture could become accelerated in coming years, thanks to both new innovations and opportunities for monetary and ecosystem benefits. USDA's Rod Bain talks with Jason Weller of Land O'Lakes in this report.
Carbon sequestration is not new. It's a process that has been going on since time began, and one that in part includes agricultural practices over centuries. What is different, according to Land O'Lakes Senior Sustainability Director Jason Weller, is
now bringing precision agronomy, precision technology, new insights into hybrid technologies, microbiological insights in how to nurture and enhance the function of those living ecosystems. Now that's kind of this new frontier of science and where we can accelerate carbon sequestration and quantify that.
Weller, at a recent National Association of Farm Broadcasting panel on carbon sequestration, acknowledges the importance of companies to develop carbon markets and further incentivize producers.
How do we then compensate farmers for that carbon sequestration benefit they're now providing beyond the commodity production?
As well as technologies developing what's known as carbon crops that could provide extra revenue to growers.
Again, that was USDA's Rod Bain, and I'm Danielle Leo reporting for AgNet West Radio Network.
I'm Keith Peters in for Lou Dobbs. Extended return policies may plague retailers. Superheroes conquered the box office in 2021, and another up day on Wall Street. Those stories next.
Here's a great thing to consider doing right now before the end of the year. Call MediShare and find out just how much you would save by switching to MediShare, the affordable alternative to health insurance. When you call, you'll get some good news and probably be very happily surprised too. The typical family saves $500 a month, but you might save even more. It's so worth it to at least find out. And you'll see why more than 400,000 people are already members. MediShare is a Christian community that's shared more than $4 billion in each other's healthcare costs. It really is remarkable, and they're very easy to talk to. And here's the thing, if you join before the end of the year, they'll waive your new member fee. That's another $170 you'll save. I'll give you the number here in a second. The call, and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 31st, so call now. You'll save even more. Call 877-64-BIBLE. That's 877-64-BIBLE. 877-64-BIBLE.
Some retailers offered longer periods for gift returns this year to lure customers back into stores, but now they're worried some people will wait 60 or 90 days before returning over $112 billion in purchases made in the holiday season, making it hard to plan for future inventory needs. As this COVID-impacted year draws to a close, one thing that's clear is that superhero films are saviors of the Hollywood box office. The latest Spider-Man movie has already pulled in over $1 billion worldwide, and Marvel films like Shang-Chi and Black Widow also racked up big in-theater ticket sales. Steven Spielberg's West Side Story reboot flopped, and the only adult-themed movie in this year's top 30 was House of Gucci. On Wall Street, stocks closed higher today. The Dow Industrials gained 90 points. Get business updates right here each day. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you, and Johnny's in studio. And
good morning.
I just received a phone call from Marcy, who listens on social media, and it's disappointing, but they're having a hard time. We're having a hard time finding the right sweet spot, the adjustments of getting the volume right, and I almost need a producer to sit there and keep an eye on it.
I'm trying, man. I'm doing
it. You're doing other things other than sit by just the computer. Yeah. You know, you're part of the show.
It sounds good to me on my phone.
Which one are you on, Facebook?
I normally do Twitter, but I'm on Facebook now. And
they said they said the commercials blare, which I get that all the time. George, they could hardly hear, and they had the volume up all the way.
Interesting.
And I'm getting more of that. And I just text the studio manager. You know, for people that listen on the KBLU website.
Yeah, they're.
Once the commercials come on, it blows you out of the room.
Yeah, the commercials are loud.
Yeah.
That I don't know anything, because that just goes to the board, you know, that goes to the computer. I can't control that.
Well, we're going to have to tell them, you know, just spend some money on this equipment. Let's get the latest, greatest stuff. Mm-hmm. And of course, all the social media stuff is my equipment, which is plugged into this equipment. So I can only get out of it what it's given me, which... Yeah, I'm going to sit down and talk to them. I said, would you guys spend $1 million and upgrade this whole thing? You know,
I like that idea.
Yeah, we'll see what they say.
Yeah, $1 million.
Yeah, I'll see if I'm back on Monday.
They're like, sorry, Russ. We're making some budget cuts, actually.
Exactly right. We found that we can replace you with, some kind of screaming cat that comes in twice a day. Extra pay for non-white teachers. Did you know that? Did you hear that?
I heard something that it was going to happen.
It's up in Minnesota right now. So there's an activist that's complaining about it, Cynthia Garrett, some kind of Karen. It's kind of sad. It's kind of funny, kind of sad that we're having this conversation, which is so ridiculous. It was Martin Luther King, which I admired. Content of one's character versus the color of skin. So it's like exactly right. And of course, we fight for that for decades because it's not automatic. It takes time, and it takes a long time, and there's a lot of roadblocks. And some of the roadblocks are internal inside the communities themselves that are, say, we have no chance, and they're not. And sometimes, you get people of color that you think, can't make it in the United States, that all of a sudden become brain surgeons and doctors, and their secret is their mental attitude going at, they didn't know. And a lot of them were from out of country. A lot of people from out of country that make it, come from Africa and then become a doctor and say, well, what racism? This is better than where I came from.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that seems to be the story.
Yeah, we're such eggshells around here, just crazy. As if everybody has a wonderful life except you. Are you kidding me? You think because I grew up a white guy that I never had a confrontation?
Yeah.
It happened. I think it happens more with different people. It depends. I mean, some people are very attractive, look great, and of course they're going to have a great life. I didn't grow up in that way.
Yeah, those other people.
Yeah, it's everybody else that, you're kind of in the 90% range of everybody else that doesn't have it. But this Cynthia Garnett is complaining that Minnesota School Board's policy to provide extra pay to non-white teachers who mentor other non-white teachers. Now, Cynthia's complaining this is racist. Well, you think? Let me see. The criteria is race.
Yeah,
so, by definition.
That is by definition racist.
Yeah, she says it's completely racist. It's such a liberal policy. Discuss it. And I like all that conversation, discussing. But she backs it up with some real history that I really never thought about and appreciate. And here it is. One teacher, Barbara Henry, and now we're talking about 1960 New Orleans, where a 6-year-old black student was the first to integrate. And it's a story of Ruby Bridges. She's the 6-year-old. Well, that's where you have to have 4 federal officers surround a 6-year-old to get into class. But there was only one teacher, who is white, that taught Bridges all year long. I guess there was a lot of resistance from teachers even. And she says, and I'm sure Henry felt unsupported and isolated, just like that 6-year-old Ruby did. But you know what they did? They sucked it up. They put on their big girl pants, and they found support in each other, because that's what integration is about. It's about understanding that support comes in all ages, races, shapes, and sizes. And this 6-year-old Ruby Bridges foundation is so beautiful because the whole point of her foundation is to actually celebrate the sharing of our differences and to attack racism through integration, not through segregation. This little 6-year-old child had more strength than these grown-ups today. What a great message.
Yeah, what a great example.
And something I didn't really understand about that, and that this 6-year-old girl had to be tough enough to get, my goodness. Can you imagine 6 years old having to be surrounded by 4 police officers because they hate you so much at the school you're getting ready to attend. I mean, they didn't like me at school, but it wasn't like I needed armed guards.
Yeah.
It wasn't that way. And then there was only one teacher that would teach her. And why isn't Barbara Henry being celebrated? If anything, right now, she would be paid less.
That's crazy to think about that she would be paid less in today's climate.
Yes.
It was a dark time in our history for sure.
Of course.
But
the way to get through it is exactly what happened here.
Yeah. Yes.
Is where this teacher said, I will do it.
The teacher
and she wasn't of color. She was a white teacher. But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It just takes, it's somebody with the courage to be able to do it and be able to rise up. And this young girl.
So now in Minnesota, we're figuring, well, the way to fix racism is more racism.
Which never works. And
no. No, and this is a divide and conquer amongst the socialists that are pushing our country into chaos.
Because they want more division, because
Yes.
that's how you control, as if you can keep people divided about whatever lines. You talk about class, race, religion, it doesn't matter. Whatever way they can keep people divided, they can continue to control.
And then I'm gonna put the phone on hold for a minute. Don't hang up. I just got one thing to say. The policy language could regress to, well, these children don't feel good, and they need to be around other kids the same color. Let's go back to segregation, because it's all about them feeling support. What is this really? What is this? Ruby Bridges, now she's a 6-year-old, says it best. Racism is a grown-up disease, and we must stop using our children to spread it.
Whoa.
Great deal. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Yeah, you got a kind of a mixed message going out.
Uh-oh. What am I missing?
Well, that's what I don't understand. If I said there's a lot of colored people in my neighborhood, that would be racist.
Yes.
But if I said there's a lot of people of color in my neighborhood, hey, then I'm PC. I'm right on.
Yeah, you know,
I
that
don't
does
get
it does sound better.
The only difference is the one word "of" in the middle of it. That's it.
I think that's a good. I think that's a good point. You know, if I'm on radio, I will say people of color. I do, because that seems to be a softening of pointing out the race. I think it's a good point. Racist.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty sure I am, because I believe I voted for Trump. So
you voted for Trump.
I must be a racist. I got to be, and it doesn't even make any difference if I was a person of color or a colored person. So I'm definitely a racist.
That's amazing that the sensitivities are exactly as you described. That's exactly. I think so. I think that's true.
That's it for today.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man. Bye. He actually came up with a valid point.
Yeah, but again, though,
it's how you frame it.
It's how you frame it,
because it's sensitive. It's everybody's waiting. Like,
so it's not just PC. It also, because it shows, if you're trying to at least frame it in a good way, that you don't have bad intent. So
I want to show respect. There's no question.
You want to show respect, so that's why you would say it that way.
Yeah, but it's weird that you can say colored people is racist, people of color is not.
Yeah,
that is weird.
Well, because when that term "colored" was used, it was used in the context or in the culture of a racist society.
Well, I think it's changed over time, like the NAACP.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's colored.
And that was set up to support colored people, but now you can't say colored. It seems as somehow like it's demeaning or something.
Yeah. But that happens in a lot of words. Like, you can't say retarded. You can't say retarded anymore. No. But retarded actually meant something. It was something was retarded with them.
Yeah, but then it became a label instead of a terminology.
So this just happened with words that over time we have to figure out as a society how we use it. You know.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they used to say, I guess there's a lot of terms that have been changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like Negro is definitely out.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of things, which at one point it was not a.
It wasn't
anything negative. Offensive. It was just like saying European,
Negro,
European. Now you say, well, and no one from Europe says anything bad about, you can't call me a European, or anything like that. So you say it gets sensitive because there's been real racism and real racism behind some of those terminologies that is created. Well, we just changed the word. It's not going to help really.
So it is important to be sensitive across those lines. So
and it doesn't cost anything.
No,
it's free. It's free to at least try to be the best you can with those kinds of things and understand the sensitivity of it.
But yeah, that was a great example. I appreciate you bringing that up on the show today.
Yeah, and quite often I'll disagree with old Black Cloud, but not on that one. We'll be back. AM 560 KBLU.
Clouds on the increase for us here today. We could see a shower later on this afternoon. Temperatures again reaching highs to the mid-60s. Better chance of rain tonight. Overnight low mid-50s. Early showers tomorrow. Afternoon sun, low 60s. Do you think it's okay to drive stoned? The truth is your reaction time slows way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Stop kidding yourself. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Bill Alexander, Flightline Mazda Mitsubishi, wishes everyone in the Yuma community a Merry Christmas filled with love, light, and great time spent with friends and family. At Bill Alexander Flightline Mazda Mitsubishi, we're proud to serve our friends and neighbors by providing new and pre-owned vehicles, as well as world-class service. So enjoy your Christmas, relax, eat some amazing food, and celebrate the season with the ones you love most.
And don't forget the spiked eggnog.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Bill Alexander Flightline Mazda Mitsubishi.
Grown-ups devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. Take responsibility for your family's future and get your estate in order. Call my friends Sean Garner and Adam Hansen, attorneys at the law firm of Deason, Garner, and Hansen. Sean and Adam believe in giving free education to help people make smart decisions about their assets and leave a legacy for their family that they can be proud of. Schedule a consultation today. Visit YumaEstatePlanning.com.
Arizona Marketplace is the largest and best outdoor market in Yuma County. Looking for unique items? Arizona Marketplace is your place. It's safe, clean, even the bathrooms. Shade, daily entertainment, food vendors, and RV storage. If unique is what you seek, they have everything you're looking for. Daily entertainment suitable for all ages. So round up the crew and head over to Arizona Marketplace. You just have to explore it. 3351 South Avenue 4E. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
The Border Report brought to you by RV World, located on Gila Ridge Road. Exit Interstate 8 on Araby Road, then head west on Gila Ridge about a quarter mile. RV World, Yuma's premier recreational vehicle dealer since 1991, offering a large selection of new and used RVs. And now the current wait times for passenger vehicles in the standard lanes at our selected ports of entry. Waiting on the updated Algodones. Calexico East, 20 minutes, 2 lanes open. Calexico West, hour and a half, 7 lanes open. San Luis, hour and a half wait, 1 lane open there. Get updated border reports anytime you need them at YumaDailyNews.com.
Truckmates, Yuma's Fix Up Your Pickup Truck Store is Yuma's home for snug top shells and lids. Snug Top, designed and manufactured to the highest standard, industry-leading quality and trend-setting design that protect and complement your vehicle. That's Snug Top. Truckmates is also your Line-X spray-in bed liner dealer. Line-X, #1 in America for spray-in bed liners, with nationwide warranty coverage, is now available and installed by Yuma's most experienced spray-on team at Truckmates. So protect your vehicle inside and out with Line-X spray and bed liners and snug top shells and lids at Truckmates. Truckmates is also your home for BDS suspensions, the highest quality aftermarket suspension lift kits, leveling kits, and accessories for 4x4 off-road truck and Jeep enthusiasts. And BDS suspensions are backed by the best lifetime warranty in the industry. BDS suspensions, Line-X spray and bed liners, and snug top shells and lids at Truckmates in its brand new building, same location, 32nd Street next to Lowe's.
Picture this. You're a business owner who doesn't advertise. You wake after sleeping under an advertised blanket, on an advertised mattress. You check your messages on an advertised phone. You get ready using advertised soap, shampoo. You get dressed in your advertised clothes. Put on your advertised shoes. You have breakfast eating advertised food and drink advertised coffee or juice. Then you get into your advertised car, drive to work while seeing and listening to advertising, only to arrive and sit at an advertised desk, work on an advertised computer using advertised internet. Then you refuse to advertise, saying advertising doesn't work. Then when your business fails, you call up various advertising companies to advertise your business or building for sale. Sounds crazy, right? But it happens every day in small businesses everywhere. If you believe in your business, your advertising should be a top priority. People go where they're invited to. If you don't invite people to come, you'll be out of business. Period. Learn how not to be this cautionary tale at YumaAdvertising.com.
Are you struggling to find quality employees? Tired of placing the same old Sunday classifieds or getting lost in the online job boards and getting the same results? Then you need to call us today at 344-4980 and put radio to work for you. It's fast. Place an ad today and have it on air tomorrow. Whether you're looking for hourly workers or to fill highly specified job descriptions, placing an ad on radio will help you fill these positions quickly. Call 344-4980 today and put radio recruitment to work for you.
Yuma, Collectors West Gun Shows, formerly Murphy's, is back at Yuma County Fairgrounds this weekend. Start out your new year right. You'll find all your favorite vendors along with dealers new to the area. Find rifles, custom knives, ammo, pistols, scopes, and reloading supplies. The best brand names at the best prices. Bring your guns to sell, trade, or have appraised. Tickets are just $8. For more information, see us at collectorswest.com. Experience the best winter gun and knife show in Yuma this weekend at the Yuma Civic Center. Don't miss it.
The Border Report brought to you by RV World, located on Gila Ridge Road. Exit Interstate 8 on Araby Road, then head west on Gila Ridge about a quarter mile. RV World, Yuma's premier recreational vehicle dealer since 1991, offering a large selection of new and used RVs. And now the current wait times for passenger vehicles in the standard lanes at our selected ports of entry. Waiting on the updated Algodones. Calexico East, 20 minutes, 2 lanes open. Calexico West, hour and a half, 7 lanes open. San Luis, hour and a half, wait, 1 lane open there. Get updated border reports anytime you need them at YumaDailyNews.com.
Someone told me long ago there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time. When it's over, so they say it'll rain a sunny day. I know.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. Johnny's here with me.
Yes, sir.
The day's going too fast, Johnny. 7:45.
Well, you know what they say when you're having fun, right?
It is having fun. You know, it's been great. In fact, I was George just on the phone. I had to call him back. He was like a great guest today. You know, and there were between Neil McCabe out of Turkey today, talking about censorship in China and how it's looking like China here. You know, the starts of it.
Yes.
And we've also got, of course, that wonderful candidate out of Florida, Amanda.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not going to stop. We got Benny Ray Harmony coming up at 8 o'clock hour.
And she is working for the Gozar
She's a congressional staffer. Yeah, started off as an intern.
Well, and I'm working on my retirement plan a little bit today. There's no winner in the Powerball, so we got Saturday coming up. All I gotta do is pick the right numbers.
You're going to go all in?
Yeah, I'll spend $5.
That's as much as I've spent, man.
The jackpot is now $483 million. It's a big number, and your chances of winning it are good, like 1 in 200 billion or something.
Those are great chances. Yeah.
I don't know what the real chances are.
I'm gonna spend $6.
Oh, $6?
Yeah.
Yeah. The largest lottery ever won was 1.586 billion Powerball in January of 2016.
I wonder where that person's at now.
Actually, 3 tickets at one. They had to split it. They only got $500,000 each. Oh man, that'd be so sad. California.
Bummer.
It was in California, Florida, and Tennessee, you know. So we got that to come on. Look forward to this weekend. So I may not be here Monday.
I quit.
No. Actually, I would buy the station and fire the management.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
You'd probably buy the station, I would say. All right.
Then I would get better equipment.
Yeah, then you get the equipment you want.
And actually, I'm very thankful Station's taking good care of me. And we always want better equipment. Yeah. Everybody wants better equipment, no matter where you are. It doesn't matter. I like this headline. Listen to this one. Hillary Clinton voter gets 35 to life for killing bandmate's wife in an argument over the 2016 election. That's a real story.
Okay, I saw that story, but not the same headline. So this is interesting.
And they start off with Hillary Clinton voter.
Yeah, that's
and I'm used to it where it says Donald Trump voter or something, because that's instant evil. But they usually don't use evil with the Hillary Clinton voter.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
That is interesting. I don't know if something's changing in the media where we're going to start pushing Hillary down a little bit.
Well, because she might run. She might run again. So
the story is that John McElvoy Jr., he's a 40-year-old now, I guess. He was in a band, and they were at the band's house, one of his friend's house, and some conversation of the election came up. Now, you hear quite often you don't talk politics, because it's dangerous. Well, this really was. And apparently John said he voted for Hillary, and his bandmate's wife jumped up and said, "Get the F out of my house."
Oh, so it's that way.
Well, then I would leave. I would say, okay. Well, he didn't leave. He pulled out a gun and shot his bandmate Victor Garcia in the head, and then shot the wife and killed her. Victor was in a coma and had to learn to walk again, going through some mental problems, having a head shot. But Susan Garcia died, the one that said, "Get out of my house."
Jeez.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Over an election?
Yeah, there had to
I don't
be.
understand the anger.
There has to be a little. They might have been
Well,
on some substance.
He was he was not convicted of shooting the guy, because apparently the guy picked up a can opener and he thought it was a knife. So you shoot a guy that brings one of those can openers up, pick up a can opener, that's got to be a knife.
That's his defense.
Self-defense. Yeah, but the woman just had a angry tone. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
This is Doc. Was it the electric can opener?
God, I don't know. See, that's more deadly because it's heavy. I don't know.
Looking over this past year and all the crap we've been through,
Yeah.
one thing stands out in my mind, and it's a cartoon. Woman opens the door, and there's a Grim Reaper standing there looking at her. And she says, "Are you here for me?" And he says, "No, I'm here for your houseplants." That's happened to us around here. I think the Grim Reaper has it out for our houseplants.
Killed your houseplants?
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
not here for her. He's here for the houseplants.
There you go.
You don't think that's funny?
I do, because my ex-wife now, we never had a plant that lived, Doc, and it was before COVID.
Yeah, I understand. We do a pretty good job with the artificial fern.
Yeah, the artificial has held up.
Yeah, it's held up real good. Just a little dusty down there.
Oh, okay, you take care of that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you guys have a nice
All
day.
right, buddy.
Talk to
Take
you
care.
next year.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you,
For the
Doc.
house plants. I used to do a little, solemn death march every time we walked out of a store with a plant.
It was the end of its life.
Yeah,
You're taking it to die.
You're always a good plant. I admired you.
Yeah.
Well, this John Kevin McAvoy who was shot. I mean, he was the shooter. I'm sorry, John Kevin McAvoy was the shooter. The Garcias were the ones. Victor Garcia, was shot, and then wife Susan Garcia was killed. John says he thinks about it every day. No joke. While you're sitting in prison, he was sentenced to 15 years to life for killing Susan Garcia. But he got 35 years total. You know what the other 20 years was for?
What's that?
Because he had a gun.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
The firearm got 20 years and the life got 15?
Where was this at again?
This was in, gosh, I can't remember. I think it was in California, but
it has to be a Democrat state. That's
yeah, it was in
what I
Los Angeles. Now, while he was in trial, the Los Angeles County District Attorney, George Garcon, issued a mandate against enhanced gun charges. So in other words, you got 15 years for killing somebody, and we're going to tack on 20 because you did it with a handgun and not a can opener.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a Democrat. Yep.
So you got to put the handgun down. I mean, use the handgun for self-defense, but if you're going to kill somebody, pick up the can opener.
Jeez.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
So the gun got 20 years. The life that he took got 15.
They're just trying to prove a point and set precedents for.
But the reason that Gascon took it away was because he obviously supports the community of smash and grab and criminals, and it's kind of harsh for them to have the enhanced gun charges.
Interesting.
Because they all carry guns illegally.
Interesting.
So his group that elected him, they live off of the illegal gun. So it would have helped this guy, this band member. I'm just thinking, when I'm thinking about this reenactment of the situation, I just wondered, like, what kind of drugs were involved? Did you too?
That's the first thing I was thinking. What kind of drugs were involved?
Yeah.
So that's the first, because they
Well,
must have
nobody in
been,
their right mind shoots somebody over that.
no. Maybe some meth, some cocaine.
I don't know.
You know.
Well, not only is he going to get 35 years, he has to pay $8,000 in restitution to the court. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, man, that's a sad story, but I see where they led with that headline now.
20 years for gun. 15 for kill, 20 for gun.
That shows you they'd rather prove a point than the hold value of life.
They just hate guns.
They just hate guns.
Yeah, I mean, kill somebody's not nearly as bad as killing them with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
If he had just killed her, it was 15. You kill her with a gun, it's 35.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you better hope she doesn't die of a gun.
Yeah.
In fact, while she's still alive, beat her with a can opener and say it was a can opener that took her life. Crazy.
Wonder, is there a reason they hate guns?
Yes.
Yeah, so it would be like Australia, and our
exactly right.
Our rights would be stripped away from us. And
you got to remember why the founding fathers made sure we had the opportunity to never have our guns taken away, and that was because we don't trust our government.
Mm-hmm. And they would have COVID camps like they do in Australia.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I watch these videos of these COVID camps in Australia, these people in them. It's just such a strange thing to see. It was almost like, is this really existing in my lifetime, you know?
Here's an article that is kind of interesting in that it's about Fauci.
All right.
Yeah, he's got an action figure. I need to get one. But anyway.
Somebody said on to Twitter yesterday, that's not an action figure, that's a doll. You got a doll. That's not.
I'll take it. I'll call it an action figure because I can pick the pronoun that suits me.
Then, well, I guess you can do what you got to do.
This article says Omicron turns out to be everything Fauci said it would not be.
That is 100% correct, huh?
Yeah, because Fauci's a liar or mistaken or doesn't understand the science.
Yeah. Early on, he was saying, we don't know. But everybody that studies history of viruses say this is going to be weaker because that's what viruses do. And
But all the people in South Africa told us what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
They were shocked that everyone was all excited about it. Like they said, look, like this is kind of like a vaccine virus.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to protect you from the diddly version.
Now more mainstream news outlets are actually putting that out now.
Yeah, I was surprised about that.
Yeah, I think.
But it's been out in Africa for a long time. But you have to be willing to search the web and find that and listen to it in order to get that information. And Africa's been saying that all along. They think this is the best thing that could happen.
Yep.
Dr. J said that the other day.
Yeah, that doctor that went on the Joe Rogan show, Peter McAuliffe.
Yes, right.
He said something similar on Twitter. If you follow him on Twitter, he said you get the antibodies for everything if you get Omicron. So it's better to get Omicron.
And when you take the vaccine, you do not get the vaccine for everything.
No,
it's only covering portions.
It's only covering portions. That's why they're thinking about doing a fourth jab here coming up. So.
Well, what they ought to do is just jab you with Omicron.
That makes sense,
and then
right?
make $1 million. Yes, exactly.
It makes sense in the real world, but
and this guy goes on to turn out everything it shouldn't be, because remember he said it was going to be the winter of death that Joe Biden predicted, and the Omicron virus, and then it was mild, and they kept talking about it was scare people. Of course, what it does scares people. That's why suicides are up. Rudeness on airplanes are up. You know, you get a lady that's not wearing her mask screaming at a guy that wasn't wearing his mask. Well, she had her mask around her chin, screaming at a guy that you're killing me because you're not wearing your mask.
Did you know who that was?
It was a Playboy actress from Baywatch or something.
Yeah, they ended up finding out.
Patricia Cornwall. But here's the most insane, obviously, of all of it is that the people that are telling us what we need to do to get through this, they're crazy and political and just trying to repay pharma for supporting their political campaigns and all that. They showed Joe Biden on the beach yesterday. I saw it on the news, where he's walking along the beach alone with his wife, just him and his wife, and his new dog. Because the other dog...
Oh, yeah, they got the new dog, yeah.
Well, the other dog mauled too many Secret Service agents.
Biting people.
They gave it back to wherever. That dog's probably dead now.
Yeah.
But because it had too many secrets.
You got to go, buddy.
But he's walking on this beach alone with his wife in this touching moment of walking with an N95 mask. He's on the beach alone, just his wife. N95 mask. And he's the one giving us policy
Jeez, this
get away from these guys.
Yeah.
Alone. Outside, the wind's blowing. There's no chance of getting anything other.
It's just a propaganda piece. It's like those the pharmaceutical commercials where people are like peaceful, and then they read off all the side effects that it's going to kill you, and you're going to want to put a gun to your head, and it's like, and then walking alone on the beach.
Isolation's killed a lot of people through suicide. We'll be back. AM 560 KBLU.
Can't you hear me talking to you? Just the ball of the future.
In the air, tension everywhere, unemployment rising fast, the Beatles' new records of gas.
And the only safe place to live is on an Indian reservation.
And the band played on.
From the 1 hour air conditioning and heating studio, this is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
New unemployment claims are down, and so far most businesses do not appear to be laying people off, with coronavirus case numbers rising again.
There was a surprise improvement in the number of people filing for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. The number of new claims declined to 198,000. Economists were looking for any signs of the impact from the recent uptick in COVID-19 infections impacting the workforce. Continuing claims, those still receiving benefits, came in at 1.7 million, also a better than expected reading. Janiko Sola, Fox News.
There's a manhunt for a suspected cop killer in Illinois. The second officer killed there in 2 days.
2 police officers were shot responding to a disturbance call overnight at a Comfort Inn along Highway 50 in Bradley, south of Chicago. 1 killed, 1 critically injured. Darius D. Sullivan, a 25-year-old black male, now wanted. A $10,000 reward is being offered for his arrest. The Kankakee County Sheriff's Office saying they're also looking for another person of interest. Yesterday, a Wayne County, Illinois Sheriff's deputy was gunned down in the line of duty. The suspect in that case, following a multi-state crime spree, was taken into custody. Jeff Monasto, Fox News.
Keelan Maxwell's family in a statement said they believe firmly in her innocence, and they're already working to appeal her conviction on sex trafficking and other charges related to rounding up girls for her friend Jeffrey Epstein.
One of the women who alleges she was trafficked by Epstein tweeted, "Having lived with the horrors of Maxwell's abuse, my heart goes out to the many other girls and the young women who suffered at her hands and whose lives she destroyed."
Maxwell faced up to 65 years in prison. The sentence date has not been announced. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken calling for the release of pro-democracy journalists and supporters in Hong Kong, who were charged today with sedition held without bail. America's listening to Fox News.
Watching taxpayer calculate your refund feels like climbing to the apex of a roller coaster. Here we go! And flying down the track. At maximum refund. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. Taxpayer. File fearlessly.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they're accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.
Morning News is brought to you by Sprague Sports on 32nd Street. Yuma's hunting and shooting headquarters and responsible gun ownership since 1956. Sprague Sports is Yuma's hunting and shooting headquarters. Why? Because Sprague Sports is the difference. Where else can you buy, sell, trade, or consign firearms with free expert appraisals always? There's nothing like Sprague Sports. With 64 years of industry connections to have products in stock when others can't. And all Sprague's firearms come with a lifetime warranty. And talk about customer service. There's a gunsmith always on duty. Sprague's is your Remington warranty center, and when you need it, there's expert one-day sight-in service. But that's not all. Sprague's Sports has got training courses, including Arizona CCW, first shot, hunter education, and more. Sprague's handles Glock, new label pistols, and is your FA dealer in suppressors and full autos. That's why we call them the experts in Sprague's Yuma's Yeti headquarters. The best Yeti selection and free ice for life. Sprague's has a 10-lane rifle-certified indoor shooting range and gun rentals you can try before you buy. Serving Yuma shooting and outdoor needs since 1956. That's the Sprague's difference. Sprague's, 32nd Street next to Lowe's.
Here's the news in 60 seconds. YumaDailyNews.com. State Representative from Yuma, Tim Dunn, is in charge of a new committee at the state capitol that identifies ways to grow Arizona's international relationships. Areas of interest include trade, border security, and foreign investment. Get more details, YumaDailyNews.com. A new art sculpture has now been unveiled in the community near the bike path on Colorado Street, east of 12th Avenue. Students from Aztec High School designed the metal art feature and have the opportunity to learn basic welding skills as they complete the project. More on this at YumaDailyNews.com, including a picture of the art display. Dr. Marjorie Bessel is Chief Clinical Officer for Banner Health, Arizona's biggest healthcare system, and she's urging people to avoid New Year's gatherings. Bessel said Tuesday that people should avoid large crowds over New Year's weekend, even if they're vaccinated. If you have ideas for local stories, go ahead and send us an idea. Newsroom at YumaDailyNews.com. I'm Andrew Carabello.
Make away the flag. Ooh, the red, white, and blue.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's Johnny, what is it? It's 8:05. Johnny, of course, with me, and you brought a guest in.
Yeah, well, on the phone. Yeah.
I'll let you introduce her.
Yeah, we got Benny Ray Harmony. She's a congressional staffer, former intern, and we're going to talk about how she's working her way up.
Yeah, good morning, man.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Johnny tells me you're 20 years old.
I am. I just turned 20 on December 13th.
I feel like I haven't achieved anything in life.
Oh, cool. That's my son's birthday.
that's great. So you've worked with Turning Point USA. You're a producer. You work with the U.S. House of Representatives in the press. You work with Paul Gosar.
Yes, I do.
Well, that's awesome credentialing, and at 20,
yeah,
you haven't even started life. That's wonderful. You have roots in Arizona?
Yeah, so Arizona's always kind of been my second home. I actually did a year out there in high school when I was 16, and after I graduated high school back here in Illinois, that's where I'm currently at for a Christmas break, but I decided I wanted to go to Arizona State, and so I packed up and moved back out to Arizona. I have a bunch of family out there, and that's how I got involved with Congressman Gosar.
He's a great guy. Yeah, you're in good company.
He's fantastic.
Fantastic. Now, my roots are actually Illinois. Also, I was born in Mount Sterling, Illinois. It's such a small town, you would know where that is.
Yeah. I know I actually do. I'm from Springfield. So
okay, so not far. There's no hospital in Mount Sterling. We had to go to Rushville down the street.
Oh, wow. Did you really?
Yeah, not me. The parents did. I was too young to drive. but as a professional, what got you into the politics at such an age? At 20, most 20-year-olds don't even realize the political structure and what's really going on.
Yeah, so actually, Russ, I was not raised in a political household at all. You know, my mom was always a little bit on the, liberal side. My dad was always on more right, we're business owners. But it just wasn't something we talked about. It wasn't, because my parents wanted to give us the opportunity to choose on our own. They didn't want to be the parents that, drilled their views into their children and forced them to believe the same thing. And so once I moved out to Arizona, it was during the 2020 election. And so obviously everybody was talking about it, and that's kind of how I kind of learned was I dug into the 2020 election, and just it was so interesting to me at the different sides. But I'll tell you what, like I did not understand the difference between Democrats and Republicans. To think that was just a year ago. But I joined some clubs once I got out there for college, and after that, I got a club invited me to go to one of the steel rallies, and after that, the rest is history. I ran into Congressman Gosar and his chief of staff, and they offered me an internship. And so my kind of journey is very unconventional. I wasn't seeking it out, that door just kind of opened for me, and I just couldn't pass it up.
It's the way life works, though. You don't know what roads are available and which ones you're going to take when they are. You don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, my whole life, I always thought I was going to be a corporate attorney, the big corporate world, living in New York City. And I just believe that everything happens for reasons. And there was a reason I was offered that internship. There was a reason. If I was not at that spot when I was there, I would still be living in Arizona, still be a sophomore in college.
Okay.
And so obviously I'm still a college student. I'm still taking some classes and stuff. But it's just crazy how one experience, one opportunity can really change your life.
Now, the political field is tough. It is. You talk about backstabbing,
Yeah, it's a blood sport for sure.
Yeah, and you're good. You're good with it.
It's definitely something that it just comes with being in it. I'm a very strong-willed person, and so I've always enjoyed, arguments and, debates and discussions and stuff like that, and improving my points. And so, but being a 19-year-old in those halls of Congress, I had to learn a lot, and I would never show that I wasn't supposed to be there, because I truly believed that I was supposed to be there. But it just all comes with experience, and honestly, the real world experience is the best thing you can do.
Yes, it is. But you're still going to finish college. You still have a future lined out of some kind, right?
Yeah. So I plan to finish college. I'm still kind of on the back burner if I'm going to go to law school or not, because I've talked to a lot of different people, and they say that if you're not really planning on practicing law, that you really don't need to go to law school. And so I'm kind of, I'm still developing my plan and my path, but I definitely have an idea of what I want to do.
And what is it you want to do? Do you see yourself as a politician, or do you like just the environment and want to be continued with staff and those kind of things?
Oh, no, I want to be a politician.
Oh, she's going all the way. She's going all the way.
Oh, listen.
Yeah, let me drive, Dad.
Literally my whole life. No, but I just, I look at some of these staffers that have worked their way up from staff assistant to, chief of staff.
Right.
And I'm not good at sitting behind the scenes. I want to be on the front lines. I want to be the ones that, are talking to news and, helping the public. And the staff staff kind of runs a congressional office. And to be honest with you, the congressmen and congresswomen are really just the talking heads. But they're the ones that people look up to, and they're the ones that the world sees as making the change. And so I'm actually planning on running for Congress in 2026 when I turn 25.
At 25?
Wow.
You going to join the squad?
I'm going to join the squad.
No, wait a minute. The squad would be AOC and company.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was talking about that squad.
Yeah, that squad. No, you're thinking about
No, she's joining the race, though.
That's amazing, though. And what state would you do that in Illinois?
Yeah, I would do that in Illinois. So my district is District 13. It's currently being represented by Darren Hood. He's a Republican. It's a Republican district. But he's the type of congressman that just will sit there and just hold a seat, but really not do anything.
Okay. Well, we're not going to give him a copy of this. Don't let him know yet.
You're coming for him, though.
Yeah, don't let him know.
Oh, I'm coming for him, and soon you'll know. But, yeah, so I'm very, very excited. And, my family, we're a pretty distinguished family in our town and stuff. So I think I definitely have a great chance. And I'm taking these next few years to really learn and to really dive in so that when I do run, I know what it looks like in D.C. and I know what the inside of a congressional office looks like and what it's like in the media and how the media is biased and how they'll change around their stories to destroy you and really understand the way these people think, the squad, as you call them, and, the good people. So this what I'm doing right now is just really taking it all in.
And if you obviously learned something going on in the country right now. There's some hot issues, some hot button issues. What issues do you see right now that if you were in office, you would want to get involved in to help fix?
That's tough. I mean, there's so many issues right now, but I would definitely say, I know it's kind of a cliche, but the border.
Yeah, well, no, we're in favor of fixing that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we're right here.
Yeah, I mean, being in Arizona and just seeing what these border towns look like. When I was with Dosar, well, I still am, but when I was interning for him, we went down to the border, and we spent like 3 days in Yuma, and we the police took us around, and we cleaned the border. We picked up trash. We talked to Border Control. We talked to all these people, and just hearing their stories and the devastating, just experiences that these families have down there, it's so scary. And to think, if this can happen now, what else is on the horizon? If we can have these millions of people coming in with, COVID and with no vaccine, but then they're forcing Americans to be vaccinated, this thing of taking our freedoms away, it's devastating.
So you plan on having a college degree by the time you run?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to talk to you like your parents now, young lady.
Yeah, right?
Oh, no, you're getting to talk.
So, yeah, tell your parents that, we supported them, okay? And all that. But you're off to a running start. It's tremendous experience that you've been able to take advantage of.
Yeah, I've never been one to wait. I'm very impatient. And if you talk to my parents, they say the same thing. I remember I told Johnny this. When I was in high school and middle school, all my teachers would call me in and call my mom in and say, listen, this personality she has, it'll serve her very, very well in life, but it's not serving her very well right now.
I knew there was a but with that.
We are kindred spirits. We are kindred spirits for sure.
I kind of understand that. We've been thrown out of places.
I have an opinion on everything, and I remember sitting in my dining room my freshman year of high school and researching what colleges I wanted to go to and starting to fill stuff out. And my mom's like, Benny, you are 15. You still have to finish. You got to get to senior year and junior year before you do that stuff. I've always just been running, because I have these ambitions and dreams of success, and I can't wait for them.
You'll find your way. I have a feeling. Do you like DC? You're calling me from DC, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. So I'm back home in Illinois right now.
Okay.
But I have a DC phone number.
All right.
I actually really, I really do like DC. Besides for some of the crazy mandates and the crazy liberal, the mentality, but the history. That's what really drove me to DC. Was, when you walk through that Capitol building and just think about the people that have walked under your shoes, it's pretty incredible, and the history that's still standing, and it really gives you an idea of why we fight for democracy and why it's so important.
And my daughter just texted me and wanted to know if you have plans for New Year's.
You want to hang out?
Oh, yeah, I do. No. Actually, she probably texted me because she wanted to know if I have plans. But I'm thinking I'm on air now, so I'll ask you.
You don't have plans for New Year's?
You can be designated driver. You're only 20.
Oh, yeah, obviously a lot of kids my age drink and stuff, but I don't drink. I didn't do anything because I like to have a clear mind all the time.
I sound like Donald Trump.
With family.
Yeah.
You do some more relaxing?
I'm going to go to bed early.
Oh, Johnny, you don't even know. I'm relaxing. I'm heading back to DC on January 3rd. So
I'll get the relaxing in.
Days. Oh, yeah, I'm going to need it.
We appreciate it, Benny. We want to follow your career. I'm curious to see somebody that's got into where you are at that age, at 20, and taken it by the horns. It's going to be fun, right? Don't let go.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
All right, Benny. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. What a great mentor. I want to go talk to my 4-year-old granddaughter now.
Yeah. I would follow her career, and there she goes. She's paving the Wait.
We'll be back. AM 560.
Weather is brought to you by Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros, serving Arizona for over 20 years.
Rain headed our way. Clouds increasing out there today. Temperatures again running a few degrees below average. Slight chance for a late day shower, mid-60s. Better chance of rain tonight. Middle 50s. Early showers tomorrow. Do you think it's okay to drive stoned? The truth is your reaction time slows way down when you're high. You not only put yourself in danger, but everyone around you. Stop kidding yourself. If you've been using marijuana in any form, do not get behind the wheel. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Bill Alexander, Flightline Mazda Mitsubishi, wishes everyone in the Yuma community a Merry Christmas filled with love, light, and great time spent with friends and family. At Bill Alexander, Flightline Mazda Mitsubishi, we're proud to serve our friends and neighbors by providing new and pre-owned vehicles, as well as world-class service. So enjoy your Christmas, relax, eat some amazing food, and celebrate the season with the ones you love most.
And don't forget the spiked eggnog.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Bill Alexander, Flightline Mazda Mitsubishi.
It is never too early to have your plans in place for next year. While many businesses will just try to make it through the holiday season, there are a select few who are preparing for next year right now. Will you be one of them, the top 10% who set themselves up for success? Or will you be like the other 90% who come to on or about March and scramble to piece together their strategy for the year? Tomorrow is always too late to get started. Take advantage of timing and your position in our marketplace right now at yumaadvertising.com.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. Johnny's in studio.
Yep.
You know, that's a nice talk to a young lady, 20 years old, full of energy, going crazy. Working for Gozar staff. He's an intern and everything. Still going to school.
Yeah, she was an intern. She actually works for him now. And
yeah,
that's a staffer.
That's pretty awesome. The Rick Scott that just now he's a senator. He was the governor of Florida. Now he's a senator of Florida. He was just on the Ingram angle. Said Joe Biden is a hypocrite. That's pretty nice. You know, when you can talk about that's pretty calm compared to the way they talked about Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You know. He says, first he says, there's no federal solution, meaning COVID. He just said that recently, after he put in all the federal mandates. Now, why? How in the heck? He said, it's going to be left to the governors. He said, but he wants these mandates, and then they pick and choose where they want to send these treatments, because he's from Florida, which means they were getting a lot of treatments down in Florida because he was the only governor ordering them. He wasn't, not him, but DeSantis.
Mm-hmm.
And Biden took them away. He says, I'm taking over. He just absolutely took over the distribution of the monoclonal antibodies to better distribute them. But there wasn't a shortage. Everybody that ordered them got them. He just didn't want, the numbers in Florida got so good where less than a person, right around 1 or 2 people a day were dying instead of 100 a day. He said, we can't have that. We got to take that away. Rick Scott had to find it somewhere else. And not Rick, but DeSantis. And he did. So they're still keeping the numbers low. The infections are high, numbers of dying are low. Mm-hmm. Hospitalization's low.
Well, numbers get high because you gotta numbers get high because testing gets high. That's the same thing they did back in the day with the PCR tests for other things that weren't able to even be found with the PCR test. So Trump was right in the beginning. He said numbers are high because testing is high. So they're doing a big push for testing. Yeah. And so that's why Biden is saying it needs to happen as a state level. But then he's telling at the states that they need to test. And he will give them the test because they need the numbers to be high.
You know what kind of help he's asked from Biden?
What's that?
Florida shouldn't be treated worse or better than any place else. We all should be treated exactly the same. Now, that's not what other states ask for. Like we bail California out, we bail out New York for allowing riots and burning their place. They end up getting more tax dollars in than they donate, which is ridiculous because they go through money like crazy. And Florida, which is not is a donor state, so just treat us the same, treat us fairly. Isn't that amazing? That's a nice thing to hear.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a state that takes care of itself, and that's what you want. That's what you want. That's what we want. But the government, the federal government, actually likes states like New York and California that are dependent on it.
Yeah.
Because they can control through a federal level where they can't at places like Florida, right? That are independent.
Well, they're independent by choice, and they just don't. They don't.
They put on their big boy pants in Florida,
well, and they don't conform.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say, "Well, Joe says we got to do it." They just said, "No, not going to do it." So I didn't mention Hyundai of Yuma this hour, did I?
I don't know.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Let's do it.
Hyundai of Yuma, America's best warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles, 10 years, 100. Veteran-owned business out there on 32nd Street. Go by and drive one of those new trucks. I dare you, because I don't think there's one on the lot. They're getting 3 in, though, Johnny.
Yeah.
I talked to them the other day. They're getting 3 trucks in. Those things move fast, though, so you need to get by quickly to get out and test drive one. That's the new truck. But they did. I mean, the lot's got a lot of new cars considering the shortages of chips. There are some new cars out there, and Hyundai was smart. When the shortage came in, they didn't cancel orders. They kept the orders open so that when the chips were available to be made again, Hyundai got more because they didn't cancel the orders. Other car companies are struggling, all of them. I think except Elon Musk. Somehow he had orders lined up, and his car sales have grown. But as far as ICE cars, Hyundai's, and they have electric cars now too. Did you know that? They actually,
Hyundai.
Hyundai does.
Yeah.
Yes, they actually do very nice on those ends. Nobody's as big as Elon Musk in those, but it is starting. The CNN. I want to talk about CNN for a minute. You watch Greg Gutfeld, don't you?
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he said something about CNN the other day because they've been having some problems with arrests. People that are pedophiles and stuff at CNN, producers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he made the comment. He said they should start a new show at CNN, and that's Catch a Pedophile. And at some point, the cops break in and arrest the host.
Just get the host. Yeah, I love that.
That was great.
Gutfeld, he's a good
Gutfeld,
one.
that was absolutely awesome. And there's another one though that they just arrested a guy named Rick Salby. He's a former senior producer for Jake Tapper's show. Now, he got he said serious allegations involving potential juvenile victims. Some really creepy stuff in this. I don't even know how much of it I want to read, but he would convince parents or moms to allow him to train their 14-year-old daughters, 9-year-old daughters, to be sexually active.
Mm-hmm.
And would pay them. He offered $30,000 for a mother-daughter weekend with a 9-year-old.
Jeez.
This guy needs to be off the streets.
Yeah.
I mean...
He must be out on bail or something.
But then there was another mother with a 9 and a 13-year-old. Apparently there's more than one. And you know what CNN says about it?
What's that?
He no longer works there. The person in question no longer works for CNN.
Yeah, I think
That's
it was
okay.
just...
And then he resigned earlier this month.
Yeah.
This month, so they knew this was coming.
Yeah, it was a resignation, and they've been quiet on it because I've seen different people on Twitter and Instagram kind of like, hey, make a statement. What's your statement? And the statement finally came out, he resigned, and that was kind of vague. And
yeah, but he resigned like 30 days ago, right when this...
right when it happened?
When the investigation got to a level, I guess. I wonder how long... I mean, the investigation just didn't start yesterday. How long has that investigation been going on? And that's after they just lost producer John Griffin, who's facing federal sex crimes involving children also.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they were good friends. The spokesman from CNN also said numerous items from the subject's Virginia home were also seized, but they declined any further comments other than, yeah, he's not our problem. He doesn't work here anymore. According to U.S. Attorney's Office in Vermont, the 44-year-old staffer, CNN staffer, attempted to entice 2 other children over the internet to engage in sexual activity. So the fact that all this is out and they know this investigation has been going on for a while. I mean, this guy did not just become this way overnight. This is, I guess, There's a history here of this.
Yeah, some history.
So that says a lot. Fox News went through a situation where there was some people that had to go because of sexual harassment stuff. Bill O'Reilly, remember, had to leave. And then after him, there was another one of the talk show hosts or whatever. But those were grown-ass women. This is just disturbing.
Yeah.
All on the Epstein thing and everything, too, that this kind of craziness shouldn't happen, Johnny.
Yeah, 2 producers at CNN. Could it be a culture thing at CNN? Could there be something that's going on there when you have?
Depends on who's doing the hiring.
Could it be? It could be. It could be a culture thing, and maybe there's more. Maybe there's not. We don't know yet. But I know Project Veritas, who's the one that's exposing a lot of these issues. They're going to continue to press, and we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, it could have been that like the senior producer hired his buddies or something. You know what I mean? Could have been. Don't know. But Fox News went through it, but it was a whole different deal.
Well, it wasn't just Fox News that went through it. There was a lot of different organizations during that Me Too time that it happened to. It happened to NBC. There was.
Was there a few of them?
Yeah, it happened all around.
Well, but this one is horrific when you start talking about destroying people's lives and stuff like that. I mean, it's one thing to make Megyn Kelly mad. It's another to destroy a 9-year-old. That's terrible. I always liked Megyn Kelly. And she's one of the girls that quit, said there was some harassment.
Yeah.
And she's still doing other shows and other stuff, and she's still talented. But I really don't know what went on there, but it didn't disgust me like this one. In fact, we interviewed Bill O'Reilly after a few months ago. I still like Bill O'Reilly. He denies it all, but nothing ever happened to that. That was never that wasn't a thing where we shouldn't have you around. It wasn't a thing where federal guys raid your house.
Yeah,
because you were rude to Megyn Kelly. We'll be right back. AM 560, KBLU.
Someone told me long ago there's a calm before the storm. I know it's been coming for some time.
Roberto Tapia is bringing his unique flair of regional Mexican music to Quechan Casino Resort, Friday, January 28th at 8 p.m. Tapia is known for his incredible vocals. You don't want to miss his mix of banda, romanticos, and mariachis when he performs his chart-topping hits. Tickets on sale now at the casino box office or online at playqcr.com.
Picture this. You're a business owner who doesn't advertise. You wake after sleeping under an advertised blanket, on an advertised mattress. You check your messages on an advertised phone. You get ready using advertised soap, shampoo. You get dressed in your advertised clothes. Put on your advertised shoes. You have breakfast eating advertised food and drink advertised coffee or juice. Then you get into your advertised car, drive to work while seeing and listening to advertising, only to arrive and sit at an advertised desk, work on an advertised computer using advertised internet. Then you refuse to advertise, saying advertising doesn't work. Then when your business fails, you call up various advertising companies to advertise your business or building for sale. Sounds crazy, right? But it happens every day in small businesses everywhere. If you believe in your business, your advertising should be a top priority. People go where they're invited to. If you don't invite people to come, you'll be out of business. Period. Learn how not to be this cautionary tale at yumaadvertising.com.
Nobody told me there'd be days like these. Nobody told me there'd be days like these. Nobody told me there'd be days like these. Strange days indeed. Strange days indeed.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you, and Johnny is in studio. The phone number for Karen is 344-5258. It really is a Karen, by the way. In the paper today, gosh, I haven't even covered that. Front page. I knew there was a few things in here I wrote down that I wanted to talk about. Lawmakers trying to trim the state powers in emergency. Now, these are the powers that the governors have now to put us in a state of martial law, basically, where they dictate, what hours, curfews, can't go into restaurants, no more than 6 feet away, wear a mask, all the mandates that came out. They came from the governors. They did not come from Joe Biden or from Donald Trump.
There was some pressure, but yeah.
In fact, Donald Trump didn't do any, really. He just did, okay, governors, you have at it. And every state did it differently, which is awesome, because then we get to see what works, what doesn't work, those kind of things. As we're all it's a new virus, it's a new thing. But what is before now? When a governor gets these mandates, I guess what happens is, or gets the opportunity, they do it. I mean, every governor did. It just was a whole scale of how much. With, I think, one of the least was South Dakota. But then Governor Ducey was somewhere in the middle of how many, what can I make people do today?
And that was unfortunate.
It was. Well, now there's lawmakers that want to trim the powers of the governor to be able to do that. One of them is Mark Fincham, who's running for Secretary of State. And he wants colleagues to rescind statutes that allow the governor to mandate vaccinations and make sure that it can't happen.
I agree with that. That's a good one.
Now, Ducey still has, some restrictions in place today. A lot of them have been lifted about, you wake up one morning and say, well, can kids go to school? Yeah, I think it's time. Let's go. But that's it. It's not scientific. It's not just one person that says it. It bypasses the legislation altogether. And what they're looking to do is say, emergency powers may be necessary. There may be an invasion or maybe some kind of terrible incident or something like that. Of course, we need those. The mayor has it here. But it needs to be limited, and they say, in 30 days, like a 30-day deal, where then the legislature has to step in. That gives you time to work with them and find out what we have to do. And then,
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Have a
it's
little
like
bit
you can do the immediate, but you can't do the permanent. I like it. And they say, they're looking at ideas right now, ideas of maybe 30 days with the possibility of 2 extensions, and but at some point it has to go back to the legislature. Or right now there's no limit on the emergency. They can go on forever.
Yeah, and that's a horrible idea. That's a horrible.
Yeah, because it's something that the whole country was founded to not do.
Exactly.
But there's an understanding that at wartime or something like that, I mean, Civil War, other things that happened in our country, presidents stepped in and did things that were really outside the boundaries of normalcy. But now it's become normal, and there's no limitation, and there's nobody pulling it back.
No, there's nobody pulling it back. And like I said, with the previous hour, with the New York state bill, it's A416. A416, that's the one that wants to give the governor power to detain anybody he thinks is a health risk.
Well, these are about doing the opposite. Let's
but it's just
take
showing
their
some
power
people
away to do that.
Some people are trying to grab more power because of this.
Yeah.
Some states. So hey, if you're in New York and listen to this, you better watch out what they're about to vote on.
Well, New York, California's been more Australia than we have.
For sure.
But even the stuff we've done, and the proclamation that Ducey did even took away hydroxychloroquine.
That was an unfortunate thing. That was one of the unfortunate ones I mentioned.
Yeah, and if doctors want to do something off-label, they've always been able to. And with the proclamation from the governor, they said, well, you can't do off-label anymore for this.
For one thing.
Yep.
For one thing, you can't. And we've heard the stories, how many people were saved by hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, these things, therapeutics that worked. So it's like, you can't do this one thing that we know works. And they try to say, well, it's anecdotal. We don't have studies. Well, we don't have a lot of studies, right?
And Ducey has a right to reimpose them at any time. He could just put them back, like he could wake up and say, well, I'm in a bad election. I'm doing a recall, so let me do these things, like they did in California. The governor had a lot of power still to sway the recall election because he still had his finger on everything and had omnipotent powers, emperor-type powers, which I don't think's ever happened in this country, has it? I mean, outside the Civil War, and I don't know what happened then, but this seems to be over the top, and it needs to cease.
Well, it doesn't just seem. I think it is.
Yeah. Well, there's some people out there running around scared that are watching nothing but CNN, and they're legitimately scared to death, Johnny. They're wearing a mask in a car by themselves. I've never seen it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I start seeing the windows taped so that no air gets in. I don't know, but it's been a crazy time. Also in the news this morning, autonomous truck logs. First no human road test. I didn't know they were doing it, and this was a 80-mile route that they let semi-trucks, these were logging trucks, run along in Class 8 vehicles with no human intervention. Just to let you know, and this was not through Tesla or anything. This was something called, developed by Too Simple. Too Simple. That's a good name for a company.
Yeah, trying to keep it simple.
Yeah, it's a San Diego company. It's the first successful fully autonomous run by a Class 8 vehicle or a semi. You got to have a lot of faith when you start sending a 40,000-pound vehicle down the road with a big diesel.
Yeah, you definitely got to have some faith in your product at that point.
There's got to be a kill switch. It says no human intervention. There's got to be a opportunity, I would hope.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was I'm sure there were safety pilots inside and everything.
Yeah, they just mentioned the no human intervention because it did make it there without it. They didn't need to use a kill switch but I'm sure it's there, man.
I wonder how much these Too Simple people are as far as being in charge of things and lead. The one I hear the most about is Tesla. Tesla is doing things differently. They took radar and LiDAR out of their vehicles. Did you know that?
No.
And yeah, it was kind of I thought, well, God, you want to save so much money. You're taking out the things that the highest tech information source of those kinds of things, because it sees through fog and everything like that, pretty much. But he found that his technology of cameras works better, and the interpretation of the vision, the vision of the cameras and the artificial intelligence behind it, because we don't have. No human has radar. They got vision. And that's what he's building his system off of, is off vision. Of course, he's got cameras all around the car. It's inside, it's outside, it's all around. And it showed some of those on one of the shows I watched. It was discussing it. But the vision of those cameras can see right through the fog. Some of it's infrareds, all kinds of stuff. So when the fog and you can, as a human, see it, their cameras are still seeing it. Still seeing it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know how all that works. Well, I do. I know a little bit because I'm watching the shows, but wouldn't have thought to produce that. But it's coming quickly. We're going to see autonomous vehicles shortly. I was talking about that just yesterday, about some of the stuff that's already available. And they got autonomous things now, like little robots and stuff that run around, security robots, things that deliver pizzas on sidewalks in some cities, and experimental where your local Pizza Hut or
I think it's Domino's,
whatever they throw it in this little box, and the box takes off and delivers it itself.
Yeah, I've seen some in commercials. I haven't seen.
Yeah, it's a neat system. I mean, it's still very much in just remote areas, areas that get permission that are experimenting and testing and seeing how well it works. We're still in the developmental, experimental stages of it all, and something they did, because I was always wondering about that when the pizzas. Well, what if some guy sees it on and says, "Man, that's one of them pizza robots. I'm gonna steal the pizza."
Free pizza.
Yeah, steal the pizza and run.
Well, one guy says, "Oh, how'd you know I wanted pizza? This is great." Sees it as a sign from God, and then goes.
Apparently, you can't open the robot. Only the person that gets the pizza delivered to has the I guess in the cell phone can push a button and say open it.
Like
the person that ordered it can release the pizza. So you could beat up a robot for no reason.
Yeah.
Thinking, man, give me the pizza.
Yeah, take it home like you see in those movies when they rob ATM machines. I don't want to do that. They have tracking devices.
You don't want to do that. Well, not only that, there have been people that don't like the systems, that go in and, they'll see them and kick them or push them or shove them over, tip them, robot tipping, like cow tipping.
Yeah.
They'll get arrested, because there's cameras all over those things.
Good.
They see you coming.
Good. Those the bird scooters that are here in town.
Yeah, what is up with those?
Those little scooters. So I know the guy that brought them here to Yuma, but there is a guy here in Yuma that goes around, tips them because he doesn't like them. So he'll go around and tip them, and the guy that brought him here has to go and put them all back up. He has to drive around or
I've
pay
seen him.
somebody.
I've seen him laid down.
Yeah, they laid down because a
Now,
guy goes
when you
around and
say
tips
a
them.
guy, there's only one.
Well, I don't know if there's only one, but they caught guy on. They have some footage of the guy that was doing it. They have a picture, and they found the guy that was doing it. One guy, but he was going around tipping them all
Well,
over.
what can they do about it? Can they say?
I don't know if they could do anything about it
is
because
he
they're just
causing?
tipping it.
Is he causing damage or just annoyance?
It seems like an annoyance, but yeah, there was a guy that going around tipping it, and they found him. They got some footage and some pictures of him, but it was how horrible is that? The kid that brought him is just a young entrepreneur. He was just a young guy, got an opportunity, started off at downtown Yuma with them around the river area, and then they hit, and so he started to get more and more of them, and now they're all over town.
But a lot of new things, it doesn't matter what it is. It's, people complain it's going to displace jobs. Computers came out. People hated computers because we didn't need them in my day, and it's just putting people out of good jobs, those kind of things. Hydraulics, you got a backhoe. I don't know how many people had to put down their shovel because of that backhoe type thing, because, we discovered our best use of hydraulics. But they grew up without having scooters on sidewalks. They don't like them. Some people don't like them.
I guess, yeah.
I've never. Have you rented one of them?
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
You have?
Yeah, me and my sons went down to the river and hopped on a few of them. So me and my two boys.
Now, you need a cell phone.
Yeah, you have to have a cell phone.
And the cell phone unlocks it and charges you.
Yep. Yeah, so you have your card on file there, and you just use the app, and you log in, and you go right to it, wave it over the scooter, and you're good to go. And it just charges you as long as you use it. And they are GPS controlled, so if you go outside of their barrier, it will tell you, like, hey, you're about to go outside of the...
So I can't take it to New Mexico.
Yeah, you cannot take it to New Mexico. So it'll shut off after you get out of the barrier for too long. And then
now, how much do they charge for that?
I don't know exactly the rate, but you can buy like people gift certificates for them and go down. It's a cool thing to go down like the river and then go that little sidewalk area.
You mean here in Yuma?
And here in Yuma, yeah, it's a cool thing.
Okay, I've never
go down there, take a date down there.
I've never rented one, but I guess you want to be sober. You have to keep balance. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Happy New Year.
Same.
And all that kind of good stuff. You're talking about the scooters there. They're almost as bad as bicycles because I've gone down 4th Avenue a couple different times where families are out, taking up a whole lane of these stupid scooters, instead of going single file, like, you should be, especially on a main arterial.
I want to talk to people, so I got to get them beside me. Yeah, I've seen that with bicycles, a lot of stuff. They do that. Yeah.
So, anyway, well, you guys have a safe and happy weekend, okay?
You too, Mike. You behave yourself.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
Yeah, Mike always behaves himself. Also in the newspaper this morning, port of entry funding for San Luis. Now, they're talking... When was the last time you went down to Mexico and San Luis?
San Luis? It's been a while.
I've done it. I've done it a few times this year, but not often. But the port of entry is kind of small. It was always, and I'm talking about the main one, not the truck one. The truck one is new and modern and all that kind of stuff. But this is Port 1, and it's kind of small. And I know the line will back up. If you're going to San Luis, to go through San Luis, in the United States, Arizona, if you hit the right time of day, you're going to be in line a long time to get through that thing, because it dumps down into San Luis on a small low road, and it's not a major highway that dumps in there, and so I don't know how much work we need to do on this side. That's going to make a big difference. I know San Luis has got money to fix their side too, and I don't know what they're going to fix, but once you're on the road, you're on the road. But I guess they'd like to make it faster.
Mm-hmm.
And better, but the line's long of people going down. But going into Mexico, you don't have to stop and declare customs like you do and coming in back in the United States, unless you get the beep, the buzzer, the secondary. I've had that
secondary for sure.
I've had that before, and it's just a random thing. I don't know how they pick it, but at some point you're going ba-doom, ba-boom, but everyone's going through, boop, stop.
They have random, but they also have qualifiers as well.
Do they? They see something they don't like?
Yeah, like certain vehicles is a qualifier. That
You're on the list?
Yeah, the type of vehicle is on the list, so they'll always pull over like a...
Oh, really?
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, the mayor down there, Sanchez, he thinks it's a great deal. Talking in November, the allocation of federal funds is $147 million. Now, they've done a lot of work in San Luis, in the last 10 years down there, in the main street and all that stuff. They've done some beautiful work down there. I guess there's more going on. That's become a pretty good, sizable, community, San Luis. That's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And recently I read they're going to start making the owners of homes start picking up their trash. So they're making progress. Mm-hmm. As long as we're going to put $147 million into the port, let's pick up the trash, too. We'll be right back. AM 560.
Arizona Marketplace is the largest and best outdoor market in Yuma County. Looking for unique items? Arizona Marketplace is your place. It's safe, clean, even the bathrooms. Shade, daily entertainment, food vendors, and RV storage. If unique is what you seek, they have everything you're looking for. Daily entertainment suitable for all ages. So round up the crew and head over to Arizona Marketplace. You just have to explore it. 3351 South Avenue 4E. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Mickey B's Cocktail Lounge has a new look because they have new ownership. Come celebrate to live entertainment and dance to your favorite oldies or country. If singing is your thing, karaoke every Monday and Wednesday, 6 p.m. till 10. Mickey B's is a supporter of our local veterans. So mark an appointment on your calendar to join in. Bring a friend or the whole office. Mickey B's opens 10 a.m. daily. 12635 South Frontage Road.
With COVID-19 still looming, your holiday season might be more stress than cheer. CalHope can help with free emotional support. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you. It's 8:50. Johnny, we're about done.
Yeah.
You got 10 more minutes. Then you're getting out. You got to get back to work.
Yeah, I got stuff to do. I got people already texting me.
George Braun was rude to me in a text.
I don't believe it.
It was.
I don't believe it.
I was talking about having no friends. Mm-hmm. When I grew up, we were in trouble. When we had that young lady on the phone.
Yeah, when Benny.
But he said. And my mom had tied pork chop around my neck, giving to play with a dog. Yeah, not true. Not true, George. A tweet here from Sandy, who passes quite a few on to me, and I appreciate that, about the case against the governor, Whitmer. Remember?
Gretchen Whitmer, yeah.
Yeah, way back when there was a plot to have her kidnapped by the radical right. Mm-hmm. Wing, and all that.
That's what they said, but the guy wasn't even a radical right-wing guy, but yeah.
Well, no, and there was some talk. That's true. I think out of 5 guys, 2 of them were FBI agents.
Yep.
Do you know that? I mean, and now the whole case against them is unraveling.
They're trying to get all the charges dropped because the tip of the spear was the FBI agent.
They kind of suggested it.
That he was the tip of the spear.
Yeah. So... It still reminds me of the DeLorean case. That was before your time, but the car maker DeLorean, when he was in financial trouble, the FBI suggested, well, why don't you sell some cocaine to make money to support your cars? So he went along with it. So they arrested him on cocaine charges. Mm-hmm. They all got thrown out because they were the pusher. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I don't know how all that works. I mean, I think we should catch the bad guys and I know, like you could call a CNN producer and say, I'm a 9-year-old girl, why don't you come over and molest me? And when he shows up, they arrest him, right?
Well, yeah.
Because he was going to do that. And but they set that up, too. Mm-hmm. But if you set up a guy and say, let's sell cocaine to save your company, they can't do that. They introduce it.
Well, yeah. Well, especially when you have it's entrapment.
Yeah, but is it entrapment to have a fake police cop act like a prostitute or that's not illegal? I don't know where.
There's some different rules, but
I'm gonna have to talk to George someday on this and find out what we can and can't do.
Andrew Napolitano, the judge
Yes.
that was on Fox News quite frequently, he actually did a whole thing on out of the 23 terrorist attacks that happened after 9/11, like when the big news, the would-be terrorist attacks that were happening, the ones that were thwarted, 21 of them were instigated by the FBI.
I remember reading that.
Yeah, 21 out of the 23. The two that they found were actually stopped by individuals and not the police. So they could have been by FBI, but nobody knew the wiser. So
In fact, I understand a lot of those never even got any arrest or anything.
well, they got arrested, but they all got thrown out of court because they were all led by the FBI. So they were thrown out of the court. So you never heard anything past the initial headline.
Yeah,
which was interesting. I saw that and I was like, "Oh, wow!" So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's maybe there are some bad guys out there, but the way you do it, you have to be careful.
Yeah, but we hear the headline when she was going to be kidnapped and all that, and then the news talked about it for days, just about this plot from right-wing extremists because they love saying that stuff.
Yeah, they initially even said Trump supporter, and the guy said, "I'm not a Trump supporter."
But now that they're the darn thing is being dissolved and going away. You don't hear a lot about it.
No, you got to find it. You got to go search for your sources.
CDC withdraws use of PCR tests for COVID and finally admits that tests cannot tell the difference between the flu and the COVID virus.
Yeah, that's.
But it's not finally. They withdrew their request for an emergency or to have it permanently approved and everything anyway. They're going to have to come up with a different test.
Yeah, so that explains why this is the most idiotic headline of this week. Can I tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
This was on ABC News, and it says, the flu makes a comeback after taking a year off.
I remember.
That just came out. So if you believe that the flu just randomly took a year off, and it has nothing to do with the fact that PCR tests can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
You're a special kind of, I don't want to say, but you're a special kind of human being if you believe that the flu just said a virus, this rhinovirus that we know, or whatever the flu is. It's, you know what, I'm going to take this year off. I'll let COVID do all the work, and boom, it's back now. Well, no, it's back because now they're pushing the flu vaccine. They're back to pushing it and make sure you get your flu vaccine because the flu's back.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
But they're not. You have to pay for that yourself, the flu vaccine. Well, your insurance company.
Yeah, your insurance or whatever. But yeah, they're back to it now because that's the big thing. The flu's back. Watch out. Well, it never took a year off. It had everything to do with the PCR test not being able to distinguish. The CDC admits that now. That's where we're at.
And I finally got some reports from the CDC on the total deaths from last year, which came out late, and it came out on when nobody was looking on the back page. It's nothing they put up front. But it wasn't abnormal. It was just a normal year, and the CDC lowered. Where they put on the front page, it was 360,000 people died. Mm-hmm. When they did the final, it was like 306 or something. They reduced it by quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I still think that 306 is high. I think it was a lot of other stuff in there too. But then the total deaths increase from 2019 to 2020 was like 57,000 people. Well, how can we have 360,000 headline die of COVID, but for the year we only had an additional 57,000 total for the whole year, and the increase, the deaths represented 2% or something, which was a normal year for us.
Yeah,
some years are higher, some are lower.
Yeah, if you do the math and you dive into
the math doesn't support all the science.
The math doesn't support the narrative.
That's exactly right.
The math does not support the narrative, and I've been trying to tell people this, but at that point, they're just cult members.
We all know somebody that's died of COVID. We all know somebody that's...
COVID is real.
Yeah, we all know somebody that's been in the hospital. Mel struggled. Thank God he had a frontline doctor that gave him some treatments because the hospitals don't treat.
Well, I had a cousin go in, and they knew about the ivermectin, but they panicked that night, went to the hospital, and they said, don't take the ivermectin. They told him and put him on a ventilator. He
lived.
No, he died.
He died?
He died. So when they put him on the ventilator, he was trying to push away. He was trying to push him away because my cousin was in the room with him, trying to push them away. And like, no, it didn't want to go on the ventilator. So it's like sedate him. So they had to sedate him, put him on the ventilator, and then a week later he's gone. He doesn't, you're sedated on a ventilator. It takes away your will, right? How are you going to fight this thing if you're constantly sedated?
You're unconscious.
You're unconscious, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's sad.
I had
That's too bad.
Yeah, that happened to my cousin, and then a week later it happened to my good friend, Chris Corona.
I don't know what the percentage of people that make it on the ventilator are, but it's not
It's
good.
very low.
And I know in New York, I remember something like 80% died or something.
Yeah.
At one time, 80% didn't make it.
Yep.
That's not a good dot. I don't think it's like that normally. I don't think that's a normal ventilator type use. I mean, ventilator saves lives.
Well, it's a very my friend practices this kind of medicine in Bakersfield. It's a very technical machine to use. It's not easy.
No, there's specialists that do that. Absolutely. That's it, Johnny. We're out of time.
All right. Happy New
You
Year,
gotta
everyone.
Go away. I'll be back when tomorrow's New Year's morning.
Yep.
All right. AM 560 KBLU.
We gotta get out of this place. Give me some